Philly chicken, right?
No, earlier this morning. Maybe, I don't know, Tim and I both smelled it really bad.
Pick it up.
I'm here.
Recording in progress.
Here we are, back to recess. Still the 22nd day of June. 1 o'clock. Yeah. We do have a form present, Sheriff, you want to pick up wherever you want to.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. We're going to go over the jail budget.
Jail. So how does me eat your lunch, too fast?
And come back to this.
Well, that's what I had, I was close, like shoving.
All right. So that is going to be, you'll have that in front of you.
Jail.
Yes, sir. All right.
Just curiosity, how many employees sheriff department has?
93.
93?
All right, so, just to kind of throw this out there, any unlisted items that, from this budget proposal sheet, we requested those to remain the same, any that are unlisted. Your salary, which is your 4101, 1105 line item, staff wages, increase from 2,215,615 to 2,550,000. This allows for a 3% COLA for each employee to be paid this line item. This increase also encompasses funding each position at a rate of 83 hours per pay period, rather than the former 86 hours previously funded. Each non-ranking jailer position is funded at the rate of jailer 4, so just like on the lead side or any other employee dispatch side, we fund them at the higher rate. Therefore, we don't ever have to come back and ask you for more money, because the money is already there. Sorry. Yeah. On county longevity, with the number of employees back there that have been there, it goes from 8,625 to 10,500. And we'll double check that with the treasurer's office, but that was the number that we came up with for the accuracy on that. Overtime wages, which is 4101, 1155, we request that be increased from 20,000 to 40,000. The overtime issue from the jail itself has been fairly well handled since I took office in January. However, overtime will still occur periodically. You have short shifts and you have to cover it. Or other unforeseen personnel issues that may arise, training, sick, call-ins. Overtime is no longer handed out to the employees at will. It is used in circumstances when it's highly needed.
And for the record, that's more requested, basically a cushion. We don't see the overtime issues court couldn't provide that amount of money, we would completely understand it.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, either way it goes, we can make it work.
Contract services is 3102, 2305. I apologize. Bonds and insurance, it's gone up 10% as requested by the auditor from $50,000 to $55,000. Back to the 2305 line, the contract services increased from 35,000 to 78,000. While this seems like a drastic increase, there is a very good reason for this. The jail currently has no body camera access for jailers. The original 35,000 allocated was placed to fund the Guardian RFID login system, which checks inmates, the Xerox machine in the booking area, and out-of-state prisoner transports. These are costly, and here lately we've been doing at least one a month at the rate of anywhere from what, 1,500 to 2,500, somewhere in the range.
And then Jarvis told us we've done more this year than they did last year completely. So those costs out of state, they run anywhere from $800 to $2,500 per transport. We typically get 3 quotes on each transport before we contract someone to do it. We always go with the cheaper one. There's one that always underbids everybody else by far. We use them just about every time, but it costs it. There's more that actually goes into that, though. I think the county may actually get reimbursement out of that. Whether by restitution or payment from the prisoner himself for whatever reason. The county does actually get some money back on out-of-state transports from time to time. Is that right?
You mean like the probation ones or the?
No, the wanted felons that are incarcerated in other states that we paid transport companies to bring back.
I don't know if this to ever get any money from anybody but the state of Texas.
Okay. There is some type of reimbursement system set up for them. Mr. Pratt had talked to us about that a little bit several months back now. I don't know all the details of it, but there is actually some money that does come back to the county at some point, whether it's through the state or through restitution, however it is. I guarantee you it's not as much as what we pay for transports, but it is better than nothing, I guess.
So this line also covers employee psychological exams, drug screens, physicals, etc. We've been keeping a pretty good handle on the folks that are either leaving or having to be terminated. That's a good one. That keeps that cost down. But every time you do that, it's a cost. Every time you hire somebody new. Currently, they use the JPX pepper ball or pepper squirt guns, you call them. I'm looking to move away from that. The previous administration was not purchasing proper equipment. In the JPX aspect, the new Axon contract, which it's going to be simplified under us, we're getting like 12 to 14 different bills to different areas. The new contract are willing to renew it, give us new equipment that we need to for every employee, body cameras, tasers, training equipment, a couple of positions to go to the master instructor school. Everything comes with that under one bill. So you will pay one payment a year. You'll know ahead of time this is how much per year that you're paying out of it, and for the length of a 5-year contract. Anytime anything new comes up, you get refunded new equipment. I know. It's been tough for everybody because it's like IT's got a bill yesterday. They're like, I think that's yours. And so, yeah, I mean, it is. But when you send that many bills all over the place, try to keep up with that.
So how much of that is attributable to that actual contract?
The contract, it should be, Judge, you had a little book. You might have take a look at that.
Those are all, the sheriff submitted his regular budget. That binder is all contracts or the bids for contract services that he submitted. I only made one copy of it to pass around. I'm trying to not fill the entire for us, but we'll be able to look at it, pass it around, and if you want a copy, we'll make a copy.
So your first payment would be due October of 25. Under the new contract, it's a payment of $35,817.96. and that is the same amount per year for 5 years. So one-time payment.
That was what I was explaining earlier, when I told you we kept getting hit blind with bills periodically through the year. We would get this random bill from Axon for $5,000 or $6,000 with literally no explanation what the bill was for, which after researching, making 100 phone calls, we find out it's for licensing, or we find out it's for storage, or we find out it's just for some deal that the previous sheriff made on a fleet camera, for a dash camera for a SWAT car 2 years ago. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. So Axon's new contract we asked them to put together is a one-stop shop for the whole thing. It explains it in detail exactly what we're being billed for. We can't verify that the things that we're being billed for now are even things that the sheriff's office ever even agreed to. But we know if we don't pay it, they'll cut it off. We have to have the body cameras and the dash cameras. We absolutely have to. So we renegotiated just about everything with Axon to make it easier on everybody.
So you feel like you've gone through everything in the sheriff's office contractually, and you know going forward what we're obligated for and what it is?
So if anything pops up, it's gonna be a fairly small amount, I would think, because the large amounts we found. And the ones that are not being used and utilized properly, we have canceled.
That's barring anything that comes up between now and the end of
I
September.
get it, and
You
that
know,
could be something come out of that work you don't know about.
I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, we found a contract and we're like, what was that for?
yeah, I have no idea.
But it's not being used, so obviously it's canceled. And there was no penalty on that, they just, okay, turn the service off.
So you're gonna have a contract for the jail, you could, and then you're gonna have one for the law enforcement.
Yes, ma'am. And when I finish this, I'm going to give you a little sidebar and hopefully it makes you smile, because I know everybody's been throwing much under this. So I will continue. Yeah. Let's. Jail supplies, that is 4101, 3101. Jail supplies had a budget from last year of $1,000. We were asking it to go to 4,000. This line item, wasn't sufficient enough for what they needed back there. This basically gives, this is gonna be the paper, the budgets and all that.
Yeah, just the paper goods, your administrative, but it's also the toner, it's
Right.
things like
Ink
that.
cartridges, all that.
Paper.
So,
Paper.
with that being said, when there's 39, 40 employees back there, and they're, with 150, anywhere from 150 to 200 inmates, supplies go up, obviously, and we run out pretty quickly. Repairs, it was budgeted at $100,000 last year, we're asking it to go to 110. Now, this looks inflated because of the influx of money that we got for insurance payoffs. This is not out of the initial budgeting. So considering the age and fleet of vehicles, we are asking for that 10% increase on the original allocation, which will take us to 110,000. Utilities, it was set at, this is 4101, 3201. It was set at 125,000 last year. We are requesting to go to 165. We're currently on track to spend about $151,700 as of the date of this proposal. Considering the cost of the influx of the inmates, increase the cost of energy, the water, which I'm told is increasing on us from the city. We'd also like to see at least, we'd like to see this budgeted for at least the end of year cost, roughly with the 10% buffer. If we only had 125 and we're projected to go at 150, 1,700, I think somewhere in the middle of that, we thought 165 would be fair for next year. Fuel, in the jail, we did decrease that from 25,000 to 20,000. It has been a busy 25. Our fuel usage has been managed and remained lower. We don't believe the funds will be needed this next fiscal your inmate fee. So, we looked at two proposals, I'm not even gonna present them to the court because they are, in my opinion, drastically over what we pay now and drastically over what we are requesting. They would provide a service, kitchen detail and things like that. While it looks good on paper, when you really get down to it and you start looking at the services provided, we're basically doing the same thing we're doing now and paying a company to be there. So, we will continue doing it with our staff. As much as I don't like to do that, I don't feel like they are dietitians and should be having to manage a kitchen, but unfortunately that right now, that is where we're gonna have to stay if we're gonna save money in that area.
What was one of the contracts? One of the proposals?
$394,000, I think.
They were
No,
roughly 400,000.
You still do all the legwork and they did
yeah, you still have to find the inmates and the work in the kitchen.
Yeah.
They provide this small, and still have to order. And so,
It wasn't, from what I saw, it was advertised as one thing, but contractually it was very.
absolutely. Yes.
And I'm sure that was on accident.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, right?
So at 330,000, that's $1.72 a plate if you're running an average of 175 inmates.
Yes, sir. Right now, we're projected to hit 304, and we currently have a budget of 275 from the previous budget that had been controlled.
That is hard work. Your staff is doing it.
They work very hard. So, I had another company tell me it was average around $2.25 a tray. So you can add that up times 3 meals a day times 175 or 203, and it's going to be well over what we're even asking for here.
Plus that athlete.
Yeah, so we're asking to go from 275 to 330, and with the amount of activity and the rest that's been made under my administration, I feel like our numbers are going to continue to climb. The courts are doing great. I really appreciate everybody's hard work there. We're getting them in and out pretty quick now, so that number gets to stay about the same and not fluctuate by 30 to 40 inmates. So, at a time. So pretty happy with that. Jail uniforms, we asked it to be decreased from 16,000 to 10,000. We have some uniforms that are remaining in storage, I guess you would say. So a lot of folks that we hire, we can reuse uniforms. And right now, we're sitting okay, we don't need that funding. Capital lease, we decreased it from 18,000 to 541 to 0. Both of those have been paid off, so there's some extra money there. Any questions there on this real quick?
I have a question, Sheriff, if I may. I know you said factor in jailer 4. Was there any separation needed between your rank at the top, or are they adequately spaced? They're good?
Good.
Okay, perfect.
This sheet will break down everything for you. We did the 26, and then we also provided the 25 of what they were currently paid, so you can see the difference per employee at their respective rank or respective pay scale, 1 through 4. Also, I wanted to go back, this is what I said I thought may make you smile. As you know, I'm a long-time resident here, but I did work 13 years in Ellis County, and I did talk to the current sheriff there, and on the contract services area, we may be able to cut that drastically. I will know more later this week. The current sheriff has offered to give us 60 tasers and taser equipment, charging stations, and everything because they're being moved. So I'm able to possibly save a lot right here. And they may only last a couple of years, but it's a couple of years where we can save some money somewhere. So if you can save 70 grand over 2 years, then I think that's a pretty good savings. So I will let the court know, and if they are able to do that, we will get a donation is written up and presented to the court for a review. So it's where networking and having good relationships with other law enforcement agencies come in handy, especially for a small rural county like us, because we get it, we don't pay the money. So, if there's no questions on the jail, I'm gonna turn over the LE side to the chief deputy, Ken Westmoreland, if y'all are okay with that. He's worked pretty hard on this, and, he'll be able to answer those questions for you. Thank you for your time.
Afternoon. This one took some work.
What is this?
This is
Uh,
the
this
sheriff's.
is gonna be law enforcement, 3102.
That's some of my previous complaints earlier this will probably help make sense of some of that. The sheriff's office budget, again, set in place previously prior to Barnes taking office. We had identified a number of shortfalls, probably the first 2 or 3 weeks that we were in office, whether it was the jail side or the store side. We knew that there was a lot of work that was going to have to be done. We knew we were going to have to pinch pennies in a lot of areas, and we were trying to staff in place, get the overtime under control, and trying to do all this at one time has been difficult. Having said that, going back through the first line there, the salary line item, the sheriff calls for an increase there. So when we look at the salary study that county paid for this year, looking at those numbers, that number right there is either at or slightly below what the salary study recommended the salary of the sheriff actually be here in Cook County. Having said that, so the staff wages that kind of fell along in line with that. The staff wages, obviously, we talked about a cost of living adjustment for all the employees across the sheriff's office, as well as fixing the gaps in pay in the rank and file of the command staff at the sheriff's office, which I don't know if you guys remember or not. We discussed that probably several months ago, maybe in February, the Commissioners Court meeting when we amended the cap policy. This is basically the same thing that I'm talking about here today. We just finally get a chance to talk about it. So basically, the new pay scale, which has been submitted to you already, that encompassed the sheriff's side, the jail side, the dispatch side, on the salary grades of 1 through 4, as well as the rank file. It's all laid out in there for you to show you what the salary numbers actually equate to. We accounted for 10% gaps between the ranks. That way, starting with sergeants, going to lieutenant, the lieutenants were fairly compensated for taking on 4 times the amount of subordinates versus a 2% pay increase for 4 times the work, as well as increasing the gap 10% from rank to rank going through there. We gauged a number of other law enforcement agencies, especially those in the area that were reputable and actually had pay scales that they abided by, and every one of them operated off a 10% gap between ranks because of the amount of work that each additional rank encompasses and the additional responsibility that goes along with it. So the staff wages as well, it shows an increase on here, and this is staffing every position at a deputy for its topped out rate with the 3% cost of living adjustment, as well as funding them at 83 hours instead of 86. It's an increase from 2.2 and it's a change to 2.85 overall.
Are y'all adding any additional deputies? I know from what I understand, y'all are short, and I didn't know if this includes any additional deputies or not.
Yes, sir, it does. I'm glad you brought that up. So the sheriff wanted to submit a proposal here to request 4 additional positions at the sheriff's office, which are all basically investigative positions. And I'm glad you brought that up. I was getting to that.
Oh, okay.
I'll go ahead and talk about it now.
I was gonna say, Chief, if I need to clarify any of those positions and why I feel the need to have those, I don't mind doing that.
Sure. I'll do the first half.
You got it.
So the 4 investigator positions, since you brought that up, the 4 investigator positions that we're requesting, 2 of those positions are primarily to add 2 investigators to the criminal investigations division of the sheriff's office. That division is currently allocated 3 investigators plus 1 lieutenant to oversee them. The issue that we've run into is that Hill County Sheriff's Office has been running with the same number of investigators for about 25 years now. all the way back through long before Brent Button even left office. I know that because I was here back then. I remember working in those circumstances. The difference is now, and any prosecutor in this office or in this courthouse would probably back me on this, the work of a criminal investigator has increased tenfold over the last 10 to 20 years. The amount of electronics that are involved with criminal investigations these days, the number of subpoenas, the number of search warrants that are written, sex crimes, all those things, the work of I say investigators, basically detectives, same thing. The work of a criminal investigator is so much more than it used to be. How we've managed to run with 3 investigators all this time is crazy to me. But now that we've been there for 6 months and actually seen how they're working now, they're constantly drowning in the number of criminal cases they get filed in our investigations division every week that goes by. So as time goes by, you can suppress crime all you want. The point is that crime still happens, and it's always going to happen. I don't care if we have 100 deputies on each shift out on the street, there's still going to be crime that happens that has to be investigated. The nature of the investigations and the time that an investigation takes is the issue. So with the number of cases that we take in on a daily or a weekly basis here, our investigators are drowning every single day that they come to work, and it's a struggle and it's behind. And this is something that I can remember pushing 3 sheriffs ago to have done that either no one would ever ask for or no one cared enough about in the past. We got here, we saw it, and it's even worse now than it was a decade ago. That's the reason for the 2 additional investigators that we're requesting here today. But that does include the salaries for total. The other 2 investigative positions should.
I can speak on that real quick. Thank you. I have been probably for the better part of a couple decades. We have been constantly fielding calls from people, especially now that I've taken office. When are you going to do something about narcotics? When are you going to do something about this? Everybody's doing it. Yesterday alone, I had 3 calls on nothing about narcotics. Why can't you do this? I'm tired of living across the street from this. Every time we send one person that is qualified to do some investigation on narcotics, he then gets pulled away to go handle patrol stuff because he runs that division. So, my thought here is you add the 2 for investigations and one becomes a crimes against children investigator, which those take forever to do. Anybody in this room, ask Katie, she'll tell you. She does an amazing job too, by the way. I want to develop a crime reduction unit, is what we're going to call it. And it is 2 investigators who not only can investigate, but they can also work narcotics in high crime areas. You won't know their cops, so unless you have to deal with them, I think it gives us the extra eyes out there and the extra means to be able to really hit these areas hard and show the folks here that we don't want your drug activity here, we don't want your crime here. You can move out of the county or you can stop. And in order to do that, we do have to have those personnel to do that. I have somebody very qualified to run that unit that already works here. So that is a dream of mine, and if we can make that happen, you're going to start seeing some results, and you're going to start seeing your property values go up, because we're not scared to seize your home and tear it down if it's a drug house, and we'll own a lot for all I hear. As long as there's no drugs in this county, or at least we can make it a damper on it, that is my goal.
But this would be similar to Clinton County's
Basket unit.
Yes, sir. Basically, if they have an issue in the county, they've got a group that they throw at it to make it.
They do.
So.
And we can do MOUs with other counties to help us as well. I know it's only 2 people, but 2 people, you don't understand. I would be very grateful to have 2 people in that unit. It would be amazing. We could get a lot of it. So, and I know on the other end, on the other 2 for the investigative side, the chief may or may not have mentioned, those 2 investigators that given will be stationed at the Huron building full-time in that office. So they have some added security there in that building, and I know the judge and his clerks would be much appreciative, as well as being able to respond for assistance quickly on the website. We're just out of office room, and I think it makes sense to two investigators over there that can quickly respond and investigate cases. Hillsborough is not the only thing that matters, it's every community in this county, so, thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks.
So, yes, sir, the total number did encompass those 4 additionally requested positions. Obviously, you guys are gonna do what you will with it in the end, but that's the whole thing.
Or is it more just actual deputies out in the cars?
No, sir, they're not going to be for the patrol division at all. These are specifically for investigating criminal incidents. Now, the 2-man unit that he's talking about, yes, but probably in a bit of a more covert manner. These are going to be specialized investigators that will work in narcotics, organized crime, things of that nature that go on here. Human trafficking, the whole thing.
But will it free up other deputies to do other things?
Absolutely, free them up from having to do extra patrols in areas that are high crime rates or whatever the case may be, whether you're getting hit with burglaries real hard or thefts real hard. You could have something going on with the precinct bar periodically. I can allocate 1 or 2 men just specifically right there to do nothing but sit on that place for a little bit until we catch whoever's messing with your stuff. I mean,
I'll send you a map.
yeah. The beauty of it is it's basically a plug and play unit. You can use it however you need. And I, and you can too, will tell you that there is always something to look at here in the county from a criminal standpoint, from Chisholm Trail to Mount Collin and everywhere in between. There's constantly something going on. And it does give you an additional presence, and it also gives you an additional level of understanding from the criminal element of this county that there's probably somebody out there now. And I don't think that this county has ever had that in the past. I know decades ago they were part of the Agroplex Task Force out of McLean County before it disbanded, but that would have been in the late 90s into the early 2000s. This county has never seen anything like that since. So, in my mind, and this is just my opinion, with the sheriff winning office and all the complaints that I think that we've heard for the last 6 or 7 months, everything through the sheriff's campaign through this past year and earlier, or through the past year and the year before, everyone had the same complaint that they've had for decades here. Property crime, thefts and burglaries, and dope everywhere. He's selling dope, she's selling dope, they're using dope, whatever. The problem is that I don't think the sheriff's office has ever had the resources to really combat that.
Drive is another word.
Could be, it absolutely could be. I mean, obviously I agree with the sheriff either way it goes. In fact, if we had the 2 additional investigators to combat that specifically, I could send them anywhere in this county. If the investigation takes them out of county, and tracks them back to the Metroplex, we get involved with the feds at that point. There's a million different ways that these could go. But to me, with the sheriff being elected and put into office in January, with all the complaints that we've heard, that we've been hearing all this time, I kind of looked at it as a mandate from the people here that they were tired of the lack of service they were getting from the previous administration. So, in order to combat this and actually do something about it, I think collectively we have to do something about it and take some kind of action.
Yeah, you've got 2nd and 3rd generation.
Yes, absolutely.
Veterans.
Chief.
You think they hadn't gotten dug in down here because there has not been a presence? You're wrong.
We agree.
Chief, can I just add one thing to that?
Yes, sir.
And I know everybody looks at numbers. That unit, I will not be requesting any purchase of any vehicles. We would rent them, and then turn them back in every so many miles. It's way cheaper, it's more efficient, and then the dope dealers don't know what car we're driving. So, it's a little bit more efficient on that end.
I think most of us are aware that there is, granted, not an actual standing network of crime where they're, they've got their own network maybe, although there probably is some, but there is an unofficial network where they know what law enforcement is and is not doing, or are not doing in the county. And we've seen it when a particular investigator or a particular deputy leaves the area, it goes through the culture like a wave, and it's either yay, he's gone, or if somebody comes back, oh no, that person's back. And we've seen that go through like I said, it may not be an actual network, but it does travel through, that segment of society within our community. And I think if this, unit like that got stood up, I feel like that would go through very quickly, and start, maybe some returns just in its existence.
Right. No, and Judge, I feel like, especially the phone call I got yesterday, they were almost in tears. Like, they're tired of living across the street and them paying their taxes and them taking care of their property, and the people across the street don't. And all I can tell them is, we're trying. Because I don't have the people to send over there to do it all the time. So, and that's just one place. That's just one place.
Probably the phone call I got.
Probably. There's numerous, yes. There's numerous. And it's a big issue. And I know it's an issue everywhere, but and I know 2 is not a lot, but I think it would help. So that's the reason.
You know, I've been impressed before y'all took office or whatever you want to call it. You never heard anything on the radio. When I'm going to work at 7 in the morning, I hear people
Well,
on the radio. Yes.
we put that.
Yeah.
On the law enforcement radio.
On the law enforcement,
I
yeah.
see.
Yeah, I'm going on the.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, I do the good time radio too.
Yeah, I was thinking you were talking about the sheriff's show.
No, I know about that, but I'm impressed because there are actually people out there doing something.
All it comes down to is effective management and actually making people go to work. That's all it is.
They all say in the 3 hours per person, is that going to pay for some of these?
It would enable, there would be a buffer for us to enable some of these changes the sheriff is proposing. There's going to be, obviously, you're looking at the numbers same as I am. There is a dip in the salaries, which obviously includes these 4 people. But to implement the STEP program that they're proposing, which is in the back here,
Oh, no.
to implement that STEP program, those 3 hours are going to go towards that, right? Those 3 hours are going to go towards these investigators. Obviously, I don't think those 3 hours savings is going to come out even. I don't think it's going to be net zero. But I think it will be, it will offset quite a lot.
Those 3 hours are not going away. They're going,
We're going to shift, basically, you're shifting those
they're
funds.
proposing that they go to fund the STEP
Correct.
or a portion of it.
Or a portion of it.
Well, to get a lot better sheriff department than we had, it's gonna cost us some more money.
Yes.
There's no question.
Well, as we discussed before, the majority of our budget goes to justice. Whether it be the sheriff's office, the jail, the courts, the attorneys, APO, you know, we already have that discussion.
But
That's the way it is.
think of where you would be if the overtime issue had been managed properly by the previous administration.
We'll say 500 to 900,000 a year. That's gonna be.
You'd be.
Which, I mean, I guess that's a great point looking forward, is you are saving that per year to put where you want it instead of at overtime.
I'd be willing to guarantee you're gonna get a lot better return on your investment.
I've seen more patrol cars between April and Whitney than I've ever seen.
And we're sending people to training left and right. So we haven't even been fully shifted every shift because they're in training, because they haven't been able to do that. And that's huge. Y'all knew that. I talked about that, how training was important to me and our administration. It still is. And if they want to go to training, if we can afford it, we're going to send them. And just the way that we are.
Also, does that salary number include, Sergeant Jackson, Lieutenant Jackson?
Does not.
Sorry.
That does include the administrative sergeant position though.
Okay.
The one that he currently occupies, that is included in that number. Of course, I always ask somebody to go back and double check my work, but, you know, it is included in that though. That's everything.
Okay.
So, any other questions? Okay. All right. So, we'll use this.
Add something to your next 2 items as you discussed. Maybe the SB 22 funds, what we've done for the DA and the county attorney, we put those into separate funds. And for maybe was a reserve for wages only. In our numbering scheme, that's compensation only, so I might wanna get with you to revise that slightly.
Okay.
So you're proposing, like the county attorney would have another entire fund?
Yes, you know,
I think that would be
initially,
the proper way to do it, because that, and
Look,
this was passed in an odd way, at mid-year, the 350,000. It was not well rolled out, just about like everything the state does when they do it in a hurry. And so 350,000 just got thrown in, to a category. Susan and I and, Miss Daisy, I believe, tried to allocate those funds properly. We had zero help from the existing sheriff at the time as to what we were supposed to do with those. It was a mess. But I do think the proper way would be to put it in a separate fund, just like the prosecutors have done, and that way we can properly track those numbers, and not have any mix-up like previous.
Well, I'm glad y'all brought that up, because I noticed that we were the only one that did not have its own budget allocated for that money specifically. But you've already handled it.
and that was because initially, when the county got the increases in October of 23, you had to raise the sheriff up to a certain amount to be eligible before you could even start using those SB 22 funds if you used it for wages. And I didn't do that budget, but that's what, you know, it was all based on salary, so they dumped the whole thing in the general fund. And which it was done again for this year, I don't even know, I need to get with the county judge, I don't know what it was budgeted for this year, but for the next year, let's get it right.
Absolutely.
And then on the lake patrol, that contract is partly salary and partly, fuel, maintenance, and equipment. So we only budget the salary portion because, again, this 1119 is compensation only, and your other expenses related to that are just down in your other
Okay,
expenses.
good, I learned something today. Yeah, the land patrol contract, the previous sheriff was basically running it where they were running it 2 years at a time. And we didn't think that was a good business move because it costs of fuel if it fluctuates from year to year. If we go to war in the Middle East, whatever, and we budgeted $20,000 less than what we actually needed to perform lake patrol for the Corps over the summer, we lose 20 grand because we weren't smart enough to do it year by year. So we've moved that back where we're only doing that contract year by year now. You have to submit an optional year contract to submit the original, but it's not, we're not obligated to stand by the optional year. So that's gonna, I'm gonna do that with the contract and submit it to you guys every single year going forward to make sure that the county is not getting burned by the Corps for any funds for fuel, maintenance, or salary, whatever. But yes, that's the gist of that one. Now that you've explained it, I have a way better understanding of that, so thank you. Longevity, same thing, requested an increase there. Obviously, we've got some employees there that have been here a little bit longer by county policy in itself, they're due to longevity pay. 2302 training and mileage reimbursement. This one was kind of a hot button issue for us. We looked and found that $10,000 was allocated to this line item for the entire fiscal year. As time went on, and the sheriff and I worked here longer, we found out that $10,000 for 37 people is not a lot of money when it comes to training, especially every one of them requiring continuing education each 2 years by TCOL or whoever. Initially, there was $10,000 funded to that line item. Did a little research and found out there were some other county entities that are only 1 and 3 and 5 man entities that were getting allocated as much as $5,000 or $6,000 for training for just a handful of people. Yet we have 37 that got $10,000.
Not our fault.
I get that. I'm not laying blame. I'm not laying blame. I'm just trying to lay the premise for the proposal. So we can go by the law of averages or however we want to do it, but by some of the math that I looked at, some of the other budgets, it would basically mean that budget might need to go to anywhere from $150,000 to $170,000. Obviously, we're not asking for that. However, we are requesting that it literally go from $10,000 to $40,000. We do get LEOSA funds from the state, but they are not, I don't think they're exactly the same amount each year. We get a certain percentage of money that is divvied up by the comptroller's office. So yeah, that number is never constant. I might get $5,000 this year, I might get 10 next year, and then the following year I get 2. There's never any way of knowing how much training money you're gonna get from the state for LEOSA funds until you get it. As evidenced by this year, we were fortunate enough to get a few $1,000s from them. But, again, this one isn't as simple because we've got 31 people total employed through this budget alone between sworn and non-sworn employees. But if you look back into the courthouse bailiff security budget, there is no training line item in that budget. So those 6 additional deputies that are employed through courthouse security have to be funded also through that. So what looks like 31 people is actually 37 people that we're having to fund training for. So that funds that probably at about $1,000 per person for the year for training, depending on the need, types of training, or whatever goes on through the year. We can never tell what may come up. Someone may get a promotion or a transfer to a specialized unit that requires some type of specialized training. Those are the unknowns to each year that you have. But I think, I didn't think that increasing that from 10 to 40 was super unreasonable considering the number of personnel that we have to fund from that line.
40 or 30?
I'm sorry?
40 or 30?
40 is the request. Did it say 30?
It's 30, folks.
Okay, sorry, maybe
Typo?
it is 30. I'm sorry, I apologize. 30,000, not 40,000.
Like when they go to training, how many go to training at one time?
Depends on the need. Like right
I
now,
mean, you send 15 or 20 to training at one time, that's really gonna cut you short in the county.
we don't do that. We never kill us on manpower. Trust me, we're very
4 or 5
cognizant of
at a
that.
time, maybe.
Not even that. We're talking maybe 1, 2, 3 tops. And even then, if you start losing 2 or 3 people, it's burdensome. I'm dealing with that today. As a matter of fact, I've got 2 members of my command staff out answering calls for service right now. So, because I got people in training, I got another one on vacation. It's just the way the schedules fell, and it's the unknown.
Will the sheriff, when he gets to where he can train again, will that take up some of that slack?
It very well could, absolutely. And that's something that we're gonna explore when the time comes. I think it will, especially in the coming budget year, absolutely. As long as TCO will give us the provider's license back. Of course, that's up to them. If they deny it for whatever reason, which I don't think that they will, but if they did deny it, then obviously the money's gonna have to continue, one way or the other, just to get the training. We encourage online training, like Judge Jeton spoke about earlier. We absolutely encourage online training where we can. It's just not always feasible. You've got different levels of licensure, the TCO, your basic, your intermediate, your advanced, and your master peace officer. If you're still a basic peace officer, you have to take specific courses every 2 years to keep your continuing education hours up, so you can keep your license active, so you can still work as a police officer. Once you hit intermediate, it's not so stringent. You can take kind of 40 hours of just about whatever you want, other than a couple of mandates. But there are a lot of basic peace officers here because training wasn't exactly emphasized in previous years. So we're trying to build those basic peace officers up to intermediate level peace officers, so they can pick and choose the training that they want, and probably be able to do more online too, and not have to travel out of town for 5 days at a time, and 5 days of per diem, and 5 nights of hotel stay, and all these other things. We're working to get to that point, and I'm curious where we're going to be by fiscal year 2027 to actually look at that the next time we're all meeting and talking about this, to see exactly where we're going to go. But for this year, until we get the training provider license, we're stuck. We kind of just have to continue doing business the way we've been doing. So, but that's the reason for the draft increase. I'm sorry about the miscommunication. It was 30,000. I'm looking at a different number on here. It's 10 to 30. We thought that was very fair on some of the percentages that we've seen elsewhere. Let's see, bonds and insurance, again, recommended 10% increase to cover new costs. Contract services. The money allocated to that line item in the fiscal year 25 budget wasn't even enough to cover the bills that the previous sheriff knew that he had. There wasn't enough money there. We found that out as the periodic bills kept coming in through the year, and now we're here. So, the contract services in there includes a number of things. We requested an increase from $12,400 to $15,000. We believe that should cover those bills that typically come out of that line item. The contract services for, contract services for the sheriff's office.
And someone does psychologicals, it's their.
Yes.
So it goes overlap with the jail or no?
No, it's 2 separate things. We keep it all separate. But it encompasses multiple things, the drug screening for new hires, the psychological examinations, none of that stuff is cheap, but we're required to do it by TCOL, we can't get around it. If we get a new hire that comes in that needs a psychological drug screening, medical, physical, you know, you're talking upwards of anywhere from $600 to $1,000 per person just to put them through that process. So, considering the number of vacancies that we have now, the ones that we're looking to fill going forward, and if that the additional positions requested are granted, all that money is gonna be needed to fund all that, to get it all where it needs to be, as well as the other small bills that come out of the contract services line item as well. Supplies, there was originally $5,000 granted for supplies to the sheriff's office. We use a lot of ink, a lot of paper, and as much as we don't want to, we try to electronically do as much as we can, but we cannot always get around it. That $5,000 went pretty quick, and I know that it currently shows to be over, but we did that for a reason, to show, to give a better idea of how much money was actually needed to fund that post for supplies. And trust me, everybody down there at the office is extremely mad at me because I won't even let them buy paper clips at this point. We can't buy anything because we're literally out of money. So we know that the amount of money that was there, and even purchasing bare minimum things needed to go forward, the money wasn't there. We could try to operate within budget, but this one all day long, that's fine, but it'll eventually get to the point where the service you're gonna get out of that is so substandard, everybody's gonna be embarrassed. So that was the reason for that, that increase request as well. Postage, same thing, projected to be on budget for the line item. There were several things discovered from the previous administration was not handled properly. One of which was notification of schools when it comes to sex offender registration. Per Article 62 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, the law enforcement agency that registers a sex offender is required to notify each school district anytime a sex offender moves into a school district. To my knowledge, the sheriff's office had not been engaged in that practice regularly, so I had the current sex offender registration officer for the sheriff's office send all those letters out each year. But each time one moves in or one moves to a different school district within the county, we have to notify those schools in writing. Protocol, we can't get around it. So I don't think that was necessarily being funded last year, so that was why we had requested that increase, mainly because the amount of mail that's gonna go out, some of which is certified, which costs more than your standard stamp anyway. So that was one of the bigger reasons for requesting that increase. Oh, man, I'm sorry to just keep beating y'all down here, but sadly it doesn't get any better.
I just keep going.
Yeah. Software maintenance. This is one of the most interesting ones we had. The day the Sheriff Lawrence took office, we walked in, we were about 370% over budget the day that the sheriff took office, before the sheriff even spent a penny on anything. So they told me that we were in the previous administration did not request or budget properly for what they knew that they were going to be billed for, or there was some miscommunication somewhere last year when it came to allocating this line item specifically from the courthouse. So the software maintenance encompasses a bunch of things. It includes the Axon contract, which is the body cameras and the dash cameras for the law enforcement side. Reworking a contract with Axon to supply us with all new equipment that they had not been supplying with the sheriff's office, even though they were contractually obligated to do so. We finally called upon it. But we're trying to rework the whole thing and again, make that one total bill. So the increase looks huge, and it is. It's a requested increase from $8,000 to $120,000. The problem is that we had to come to you guys earlier on in Sheriff's term here, several months back, and request money from contingency to pay for software like Leads Online, some Axon purchases that were not accounted for, that just came up sporadically as we get blindly hit with bills. Our TLO comes out of there, which is our information software that we use. There's badge printing software we have for the printing of badges and identification cards for access and police identification for the sheriff's office. Active Alert, which I think some of you may be on Active Alert. I know Judge is.
We are exploring the option of maybe some other methods being added to that as well.
Sure. Apparently,
this building.
yeah, apparently the county's been using it for quite a while, and it was a service that we thought was great for local law enforcement, medical, fire departments, elected officials, everybody. We thought that the service was great, chose to continue using it. So it was something that was actually being utilized. But there's a million features to it. I'm sure somebody at some point, if you're not familiar with it, can walk you through it. Let's see. Phone lines. So the sheriff's office is still operating on the old school analog phone lines that are wire out of the wall. And that's great, they work, and I know that they typically work all the time. The problem is that half the wires in those walls are just about eat up completely and are in need of repairs, something fierce. I found out that the sheriff's office is currently allocated 19 total phone lines for the facility, and I think we're using about 7 or 8 of them, and we've been paying for 10 or 12 phone lines that have not been in use probably for decades. The good thing about that is that those unpaid phone lines, they're only about $8 a month, so it's not exactly a dramatic cost, but it is still money that could probably be used elsewhere for better means. The issue with the phone lines is, and if any one of you ever want to come by my office and sit in my office and be really quiet, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Every one of our phones sounds like open airlines sitting on our desks. There's problems with the phone lines, probably with the connection ports that are up in the attic in the sheriff's office, everything else. They've been in need of repair since Sheriff Button probably moved into that building 23 years ago. So there was an option to go to VoIP phones, it's voice over internet protocol phones that we had discussed previously. The problem is it costs about 3 times the amount of what we're paying in a monthly bill right now. We're currently paying about $200 a month for the phone lines between the bailiff's phone as well as the multiple phone lines that I just mentioned at the sheriff's office. The VoIP phones run off the internet specifically. They do not have to be plugged into the phone port on the wall. The LAN port, the blue cord, I'm sure you guys have blue cords. The blue cord is what is used, I believe, to run those phones. They work in any emergency situation. They work in any weather. If your primary internet source goes out, turns those phones off, you have a backup internet source that will continually run those phones. Is that correct, Philip? So the only issue is the change in cost. So you're paying $200 something a month now for 19 phone lines, and we only use less than half of them. And our phone lines need dramatic repair, or we can spend the money to do the VoIP phones, which encompasses all the equipment and everything that comes along with it. I weighed the pros and cons of this and ended up going ahead and requesting the VoIP phones because the amount of repairs that are needed to that old building down there with the phone lines and the phone jacks that are all over the place, all scattered through that building, would probably cost a lot more long term than just going ahead and going with the VoIP phones. So it's $600+ per month for the entire jail. That includes the jail, the sheriff's office, dispatch, everything, and that's equipment and all of it. It's all warranted. The whole thing. So while it does cost more, we collectively believe that it would be much better for everybody down there because the phones that are down there now are extremely antiquated and the phone lines are anymore. So
Have we seen the contract yet?
we have not got the contract
We have a
yet.
proposal.
There should be one in that folder right there. I believe I put that information in there. If not, I can get it to y'all, but it lays out the entire thing. It might be up front through those first few pages, Judge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This looks like the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. That's the one.
Yes, Vested Networks is the name of the company. It's $600 per month for all the equipment and for the service. There's an additional fee on there, obviously, for your taxes, and they have a cloud-based user service, your $15 a month fee that they hit you with. And
Chief, is that for a 3-year or was that a 5-year proposal? Does it say?
Great question. Well, offer was good for 30 days, but this one didn't say or a 3 or a 5-year proposal on it. It just said the proposal was good for 30 days.
I think it's
It's either 3 or 5. I'm sorry, it says it right there in front of me, 60 months. It's a 5-year plan. I'm sorry. They got it. But anyway, that was part of the request for additional money on that one as well.
Is that kinda like, satellite or how does that operate?
Hardwired internet, so your internet ports that you have in your building with big blue thick looking phone lines, same thing. You just plug it into the LAN port and it plugs straight into the phone. The old school original phone boards that you see, they basically just go away. So
A
they
storm or anything that would blow up or would knock that out?
No, we had discussed that as well, about keeping one analog line for dispatch, in the event of world catastrophe and internet going down all over the planet. But again, this system does come with backup as well, so if your primary internet goes down, the backup will catch it as a safety net. But also keeping at least one analog phone line in that building, should there be some type of catastrophe from an emergency standpoint, and we need to either make contact with the outside world or vice versa. I think it would be a good idea to keep at least one of them around, just for the sake of.
If I could just speak real quick, Chief.
Sure, absolutely.
So, I was recommending keeping two of the analog fax lines, or analog lines for fax purposes, one back in the jail and one up front. The reason being is CJIS compliance. So analog phone lines are CJIS compliant. If you move to a voice over IP type of a fax solution, then you have to have additional encryption. You have to use specialized hardware. There's more hoops to jump through. Can you make it CJIS compliant? Yes, you can. But we're already CJIS compliant today. It's costing us $8 a month.
$8-10 a month for the fax lines. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but lawless equipment has to be purchased in the process too, for the sake of the fax lines. We can just focus on the desktop phones, and that's it. Thank you for bringing that up. But yes, sorry, where were we here? Software maintenance, yes. So there's a number of reasons in there for the drastic increase. Primarily, the one on that one is for Axon. So the new Axon contract that was brokered, instead of it nickel and diming us all the way through the year, month to month, sending us sporadic bills for $4,000 to $8,000 or $9,000, it's $79,000 per year for 5 years on the contract is what it is total. That encompasses licensing, equipment, the latest and greatest equipment of whatever they've got, then providing whatever training is required to use whatever equipment comes along with it, the whole thing. So I know it's costly, but the thing is that the county's been paying just about all that money all this time. You just don't see it in one blanket bill. They've been hitting it probably every month or two with these several bills for thousands of dollars at a time. But that's how much you get into paying at the end of the year anyway. We wanted to simplify, pay it all up front for the whole year. And Susan and I get 1 million emails and invoices, and Rachel too for that matter, to simplify it. So that's the biggest chunk of that request. Repairs, we did request an increase of 10% in the repair line item.
What's that total number? It's kind of messy on my sheet.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, my chicken scratch there. Originally, $100,000 was allocated to that fund. Currently, it's allocated at $181,960, but the only reason that number was inflated was because of repair money that was given from the hailstorms. So all that was insurance money that we got back to start making repairs on squad cars, which is ongoing.
What's it?
I'm sorry?
Is that 110?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's why I'm requesting to go to is a 10% increase for repairs. We have an aging fleet of squad cars, and with an aging fleet of squad cars, all that means that more stuff is going to break. It's just part of doing business, I guess. Let's see. Good there. Radio, we requested to go from $9,500 to $10,000 for estimated repairs for this year, and that is to plan and prep for the potential addition of newer radios for squad cars where needed. Working with Chris Jackson, we're looking at used or refurbished radio units that are substantially cheaper than brand new radio units. We're kind of weighing the cost of both. If we had to buy some or something went down in that area now, we would probably go ahead and just go with the refurbished ones, just to make sure that we're covered in some way. But that was the reason for the $500 increase, because of how much those cost. I think that will allow us 4 or 5 total head units for squad cars. Security equipment, we have requested a decrease of, $32,561. We have requested to go ahead and decrease that down to $30,000 evenly. We have gotten to the point where we purchased just about all the vests that we need for the sheriff's office. We're waiting on and some of them will be shipped here. However, there are some other equipment needs that are going to be needed going forward. New bulletproof vests get purchased out of that line item. Those things run about $2,600 a kit for one person, and they're custom fitted and cannot be reused or issued unless you just magically find a new hire that is the exact same size and girth and everything else of the person that vacated the position. So it's expensive. We wanted to make sure that with the number of vacancies we have, that we look to fill this coming year, that we had enough money in there to outfit new hires with new vests as they come in the door and not run into the situation that we just ran into over this past year ever again. If we can keep it going on a rolling basis from year to year, we don't have to come to you guys and just mysteriously say, I need $100,000 for vests. We can just basically keep chopping at it as we go along and probably spend it a lot more responsibly in the process. Other supplies, we requested a decrease on this from $35,000 to $25,000. With what few plans that we have and what we know we're gonna need there, we don't think there's a need to fund it the full 35, so we requested a $10,000 decrease on that one. Capital lease payment, from what I understand, we're looking to decrease that from the allocated $301,000+ down to $215,000. The sheriff's office and the county did pay off, I think, a handful of vehicles this year through capital lease. But we still have several that are still on there for one more payment. Maybe one more payment through this year. There's several of them on there. But after that, we believe, from what we've seen after this year, all of the leased vehicles for the sheriff's office should be paid off. So we requested that line item be decreased down to $215,000, difference of about $86,000 to make the payments that are going to be due through capital lease this year. Speaking of vehicles, we had talked about this earlier, the sheriff and I did. We're projected to be vastly under budget in a big way. I think on the sheriff's office side, a lot of that had to do with being short-staffed because of their salary money that's actually still going to be there, as well as some other things. The sheriff and I talked about this collectively with the need for some squad cars down there because our fleet is getting old with the hailstorm and everything else. It's not only is it old and now it's really ugly and beat down. We're going to need some cars. Going forward, especially with this one, considering the amount of money that we're projected to have left over, I think it's not out of the question to think that there may not be enough money left over to fully purchase outright 4 to 6 squad cars for the sheriff's office. Not financing them anything. I think the money may end up being there to just pay for them outright if the court is willing to consider that later on. And it would be less that I got a request from you going forward too, is to use the money that's already allocated, the money there for cars. So I just wanted to plant that bug. And
So, let me put it in change terms. So we're talking about money that you're gonna have left over in this year's budget, left over from unpaid salaries, utilizing those funds to buy cars this fiscal year and not have to buy those cars next fiscal year.
correct. Yes. And again, that's up to you guys, obviously. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there to see if you would even consider the idea for it. Let me see here. On the sheriff's office side right now, and I know that these aren't real numbers, don't get me wrong, but we're projected to be about $500,000 under budget on the sheriff's office side this year. That's the projection. I don't know if that's going to be the exact, but that's just for the sheriff's office budget in itself. The jail, there's more there too. So there's money there, rather than maybe having to allocate even more money for next fiscal year's budget. I thought maybe it was a good idea that we use the money that was already submitted to the sheriff's office to make those purchases and actually get something out of it, not financing them, not paying the interest on them through capital lease, just paying for them outright. The sheriff and I have discussed vehicles a number of times and getting away from the Chevrolet Tahoes because they have been a nightmare. Chevrolet has really fallen off on the law enforcement vehicle realm. We're looking to go back to 4-wheel drive pickups that we can get for about $10,000 or $15,000 cheaper than an outfitted Tahoe. So for every several Tahoes you buy, you can get an additional pickup out of it. Is what the way we look at it. So we're trying to get more with less, and I think that's probably financially the best way to do it, and not paying interest at the same time. So I just wanted to throw that out there as an idea. If you guys would consider it, we would greatly appreciate it. Outside of that, I think that's about it for the law enforcement budget.
we probably won't get them by the end of September, but those funds, then we can encumber them on the next year's budget. And after the process, it will add to the funds for next year of funds that we held on to this year. You know, he's gonna be adding to the reserve his projected amount for 4 to 6 cars. So we won't actually be able to get the expenditure out because the cars won't be received by September. But in the budget process for 26, we encumber those funds, and then that'll add to his 26 budget.
Unless we need to use those funds to fund some of the increases.
Right, we did that for the jail antenna, we did it for the Motorola project.
Or you couldn't use those funds on any of the salary change and all, because they're reoccurring. Oh, yes.
The only other idea, I'm sorry, Judge, I don't mean to keep, the only other idea that the sheriff and I had actually discussed one day, and hopefully we can get together and have a discussion on, because I know the purchase of SWAT cars is costly in the county. They're not cheap, and they're not gonna get any cheaper as time goes on. Exploring the option of a vehicle fund for the sheriff's office, whether that is the allocation of unused funds from each budget year, basically pumped into a vehicle fund, or whether you make it a county-wide vehicle fund or a vehicle fund specifically for the sheriff's office. Vehicle's not gonna get you cheaper, and the equipment to outfit them is not gonna get you cheaper either. And it's gonna be to the point probably within a decade where you're gonna spend $100,000 per SWAT car. That's the way it's going. So on that same token, with the need for SWAT cars and the need to rotate them out, you don't wanna finance them and you don't wanna pay the interest on them. A vehicle fund in our idea was the best way to go, however you do that. Leftover funds through the fiscal year, however, I just wanted to kind of throw that idea out there just to see if it's something that maybe we could discuss in the future. So, thank y'all. Any other questions or anything? Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That's great.
Well, I've got good news and bad news, which one do you know?
I'll take,
Good news, my presentation is not near as long as Tim's.
that's all that.
And I'm not gonna ask for near as much money either. Okay, there were a couple legislative bills that passed and necessitated a little bit of increase in our mouth budget. One was Senate Bill 387, which was increased the bond amount for county court of law judges hearing guardianship cases from $100,000 to $500,000. I contacted Reverend Pashonsky over there, Hill County Insurance, and got a quote. The total amount for 4 years is $7,000, which is going to be a 4-year increase of $5,600. Breaking that down, I've got it goes into effect September 1st. So instead of having to do a budget amendment for this year, I've got enough in my current budget. We'll be able to handle that. And I've also got a line item of $2,000, and we have not come close to using that amount. But given the increase, I am going to ask for a little bit more, and that's going to be on line item 2303. So I'm asking for a $200 increase, and I should be able to absorb the rest of that. The rest of the below, the salaries and benefits, the operating expenses and supplies, everything else is pretty much the same. Nothing major on that. The other increase that you're going to see is going to come in the form of the Senate Bill 293, which is the statutory increase for judicial pay. That rose significantly. We, as judges, we have not had a raise in over a decade. So while county employees have received the COLA increases, we didn't get those. So that's a substantial raise. You're going to not only pay me, but Judge Lewis, Mark Pratt.
This will be the same thing that County Attorney David Holmes spoke on. He gave us a short review.
Okay, and I included the bill and a brief synopsis from the Office of Court Administration. I'll pack it to you. If y'all have any questions about those salaries, I have those charts that I'll be happy to give to you. My increase overall is for my budget for salaries, I'm requesting 49,000. And that's about it. Do you have any questions about salary increases or the bond increase?
The charts that we submitted in the back are pretty good charts, they break it down.
It also,
If you read the text of the bill, it's complicated, the charts make it look real simple.
it also allowed counties to increase the county supplement from $18,000 to $25,000. So I do want to advise the court that is included in the budget numbers that I've requested for 25-26. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you all very much.
On your chart, Judge,
Yes.
so I know at one time when they did this, then you had to factor in the longevity pay of this and such, but your numbers are on the CCL on the
That's
8+ years or.
And note that the 234 for 12+ years, or 8+ years rather, that is the minimum. Okay?
Right.
With the county longevity pay, I don't know what the court's gonna do with longevity pay, but that can go all the way up to 245 for my side.
Okay, and
Okay.
does that include juvenile board or not?
No, this 234 does include juvenile. So if you will look at my proposed, requested budget, the juvenile board stayed at 60/50. However, the salary portion goes up from 62.2 to 122.9. So that would include the increase for, the county supplement from 18 to 15. It goes from that. And longevity pay, that's its own line item.
Okay, and that's total 3.
And as long as that doesn't go over $10,000 for my position, then I'm okay.
Okay. So those 3 items, your top 3 items equal to 234.
Plus longevity, correct.
Right, yeah, not included. in
Correct.
one.
Okay.
Okay.
Clear as mud?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you, guys.
She has nothing in here.
Oh, I got it there.
She brought it just for you.
Too late.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see, I can review this one. Then I'll just give you this little packet. For the salaries, I used the salary survey that Rachel sent out to everybody. Not there. And I just, like I said, I didn't even add the 3% or whatever they were using. I didn't even add that in there, I just put everybody up to what they, like a level, I think it was a 4. I have two level 2s that are just moving up from level 1. The longevity, I think, is going to be around the same. The overtime, we've talked a lot about this in my office, and having overtime is just a little bit, I mean, it's not a whole lot, but the only way that we could not have overtime would be to close at 4:30. And I don't know if anybody would want to do
I
that.
can let you do that.
Well, I'm just saying, we did it for a little while because of the overtime girls, balanced that night, ready to go to 8 o'clock the next morning. We were sure to leave at 5 o'clock. When we close at 5 o'clock, we normally have people in there till at least 5 10. I can go back and look at our time sheets, and all of our girls' time sheets. Nobody's really been out there before 5 10. So we're always gonna have overtime. I don't know if that's that big of a deal or an issue for y'all, but we're always gonna have overtime.
So this, projected year-end number, that 1942, is that a
I
pretty?
would imagine that, yes, that's.
Roundabout, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And that's for everybody.
Yeah.
That's not, yeah.
Because you're not looking at hours past 5, you're looking
They're minutes that they do,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
at 15, half hour.
Right.
So,
Do what?
Probably over 2,000.
Yeah, I don't think so.
seems,
But that's fine with y'all, it's fine with you.
alright.
So, I just skipped over the social security stuff.
Yeah, no,
Or the
benefits.
benefits. Okay. So, memberships and dues, we have, 2 more girls, Liz, Amber and Scarlett, who are gonna be going to school this year. So far, we have, with their PCC, which is a professional county collector. Sheet out here. PCC is a professional county collector. I have my PCC, Brenna has her PCC, Diane has her PCC, and Liz has her PCC. Brenna and I both have our CTOP, which is a county tax office professional, and I'm 1 class away from having a PCAC, which is a professional county assessor collector. 1 class, and you can only take these classes at a fall conference, which we don't always go to the fall conference, just because with school, we went over our budget a little bit in training this year, but I have to make my girls not order any supplies, so we have a little bit more money in supplies, so that should offset that. That being said, instead of $375, their membership dues, I think, are $75 a piece, so that bumps up to $525. The training and mileage, because we are, 2 more girls are gonna be starting their classes, and right now they only offer classes in Conroe and Longview, and, so they have to drive, and they have to stay. Towards the end, Diana and Liz paired up and went to a lot of the classes together, and as they got closer to the end, I'm like, same. So we saved a little bit of money there, and I don't think that, Amber and Scarlett will not do that. But I'm gonna keep that at $6,000 if that's okay. Bonds and insurance, I assume it's gonna be around the same. Contract services, it's gonna go up to $718 because of the new RTS computer that we're gonna get, and I need to get a copy of that. Because I'll just send it right over. I'll bring Nicole, yes, I'll get it from Nicole. Supplies stay the same, postage went up $10. The company that we use, I don't know, they have like a level list of, I guess, like assistance, so for $250, it's kind of just like, hey, we sent your taxes out, this is, you know, like, they just let us know that they've done it. I think it goes all the way up to about $750, and supposedly you can get some sort of a tracking on, there's no way that we can track every single piece of mail that they send out, but I don't know. But we went ahead and just went with the $250. It's what we've done every year, and nothing's changed, so. And software maintenance and support, it is $75,808. That went up. We're using a different software company to do our truth and taxation, and they run our website. And you can make payments through the website, you can do the whole, actually I have to run the website, but they, I guess, provide the domain, I don't know. I don't know what it is that they do, but it's through them.
Talking about Harris Government?
Yeah, except for it's VIS, they contracted out to a different company, but anyway. And, let's see, telephone, I don't really know how much my home bill is, but I put it exactly the same as what it was before. Oh, did I say postage already? We did that one? Okay, yeah. And in that packet that I give y'all, we have like kind of interesting stuff that. Susan, did I do that to you? Oh, hang on. Oh, I did tear it off. Sorry. I just kind of went through, last year's, commission revenue versus what we have collected so far this year. For Apple and motor vehicle, last year for Apple it was $651,329. And this year through the end of June, so through the end of last month, it's $612,257 for motor vehicle registration. And so remember that at the beginning of the year, we get to keep all of our funds that we get from the state. And then in April or May, we get to keep almost all of our motor vehicle sales tax for what we collected for that month. So for last year, it was $1,150,347. This year, through the end of June, what we've collected for motor vehicle and sales tax is $1,065,362.18.
You're gonna outpace both of those.
Do what?
You're gonna outpace both of those.
I am, you're right, I am somebody. The next page is just, the production that we've done, in motor vehicle for the year. And it's got the FY24, and then the 25 so far, it's through June. And so, I don't know, I like to go back and look at the bottom number to see, in January of last year, we did 3,900 transactions. This year, we did 5,730 transactions. So it's kind of fun just to keep up with that. Also, I spoke a little bit about it on, in court today. Or was it today?
Yes.
I used to mix up. Well, I've been here for a really long time. Getting the, new motor vehicle computer, because all the dealers are having to go to web dealers, so, they submit their paperwork through basically through scanning it into the computer, and we approve it, and, then they destroy the titles, I suppose. I don't really know what they do to the titles, but they don't send them to the state, they show all this on the computer. And we stay busy. I don't know how much I can talk about, but we stay busy all of the time. Little door situation, we try to kind of fix it with the lights or we ordered a light and when it sent, and it plugs in, so it's USB, it doesn't reach. So we just sent it back, and we're like, okay, we'll figure something else out. But, I would love, you just take the door and move it right to the middle. If that's ever an option, if we're ever gonna do anything, any kind of construction or anything out there, just keep me in mind. This is very hard for people to come in here and the person on 5, that's all the way down there. Oh, I almost forgot most of the part. That's all the way down there, they can't hear. I mean, they're screaming out as they come down. With my salaries, sorry, I want to take I would love to just have another full-time person, but I would take having my part-time person now to just being a full-time person, so we have 5 full-time clerks on the counter rather than 4 on the counter and then one that just floats around. Right now, we don't have a part-timer, we have all full-time people, but, I would love to just get rid of the part-time person and have her go to full-time.
You built that in.
It is. Let's see. Another kind of fun thing that I'm not gonna do it, y'all, I can, whenever we go into like, later on meetings, I can, for the fiscal year of 2024, 34,769,000. You don't have this new package. $612 is what we ran through my office for everything that we collect for. That's motor vehicle, property taxes, boats, everything, hotel motel, everything that we collect for. And that was last year. That was the full fiscal year. For this year, right now, and I actually did this up until yesterday at 5 o'clock. It's 35,115,159. So we were to be what we did last year. That lets you know, or we still have, you know, the rest of July, August, and September.
So like, I'm looking at your chart, in December of 24, you guys did 3,333 transactions. And so that would be 107 transactions per day on average. That's pretty.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Yes,
That's on average, 107 transactions.
yes. Yeah. And this is just, these are just motor vehicle registrations and titles. This doesn't, there's not really, they don't provide a report that we can get, everything like our 30-day permits or, really any of our permits. I think that's about it, but, I mean,
There's that.
yeah, and for, the very last page, I didn't go over that one, because it's just kind of very sporadic too. It doesn't include any of the fees, but, as of yesterday at 5 o'clock, the amount of property taxes just entering in, a property account number and paying it was 24,950 transactions from October to, yesterday at 5 o'clock. So, the state's really busy over there.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
This is the rest of that one. She didn't have it.
Oh, thanks.
I put holes in there, I'm sorry, I have no whole section for it. After this year, I won't have anybody else really left to train, so it'll just be maintaining hours. It'll just be maintaining hours at that point.
Well, this year, we budgeted 6,000, but you spent 8,200.
I did.
So, but you're thinking you're gonna go back to the 6,000, you won't need to spend as much.
No, I won't need to. No.
Release the commission.
No. It's because we switched so much, because they just wanted to get them done. Like, they did 3 courses in a matter of 3 weeks, which that never happens. But yeah, no, it won't be done.
You guys are great, or we good to go? What do we? The sheriff came back in.
Are they not done? Y'all aren't done, they're not done?
Oh, they're done.
Oh,
We cut them off. We're gonna talk about that in just a minute. But, would you like to go ahead and?
Sure. We're Gargoyle Credit
foster families, biological relatives, and even friends to gather a full picture of the child's life and needs. We meet with the children monthly, attend school and medical appointments, participate in meetings, and submit written reports to the court. Texas law requires the court to determine the child's permanent placement within 1 year, and our advocates are with each child every step of the way, and sometimes beyond. Since our founding, we've grown both in advocates and the number of children that we serve. While this growth reflects our success, it also points to the increasing needs in our community. CASA advocates are often the one consistent adult in a child's life during what can be a frightening and unstable time. As one of our longtime volunteers, Brody Rawls, says, but for CASA. Because in many cases, if it weren't for CASA, a child might go without critical emotional education or medical support. Advocates help find family placements, work with schools for educational plans, support visitation with siblings or friends, and advocate for normalcy and stability in children's lives. Many children maintain contact with their CASA long after their case ends because of the unique bond formed at such a pivotal time. In the last year, our small staff of 4 has trained 8 new advocates and 5 more in 2025. We have also hosted 2 social work interns, further building future advocacy in our area. As a growing program, our financial needs have increased. In 2023, our primary funding source through Texas CASA reduced our grants by $21,000, and we're again advised to anticipate further 15% reductions for this coming fiscal year. Currently, 75 CASA programs operate across Texas, and many receive county support. To continue providing these vital services that we do for our Hill County children, we're respectfully requesting that the Commissioners Court enter into an agreement to provide $30,000 in county funding. This funding represents only a portion of our total operating budget, but this is a critical part of sustaining our work. I've included our previous year's audit and our current proposed budget in your packet for review. So on the second page, I think, maybe the proposed, there's the proposed use of the $30,000 from the county, and I've also included our operating budget for the next year. We are hoping to add a position, a full-time position, an additional supervisor who will also work with our families to pursue CDC applications through the ODAC grant, which is the Victims Assistance Program, and as well as serve as a supervisor, supervising cases, because many of our supervisors are nearing their max what we are legally allowed to carry as supervisors. I myself carry a caseload of 9. Most executive directors don't carry a caseload, and they recommend us not taking more than 3. But my supervisors are at their max capacity, so
And you're a glutton for punishment.
Huh?
And you're a glutton for punishment.
I'm a glutton for punishment, you're right.
Just had a
We
huge
don't want
heart.
any of our kids to not be served.
Huge heart.
We do serve 100% of children in Hill County who are removed from their home by CPS. And right now we have raised our volunteer percentage to 87.8% of those children are served with a volunteer, which is up tremendously in the last 2 years. We were struggling to hit 70%, and now we're almost getting 90. So, yeah.
Good job.
Still do the bingo.
We do. It's coming up in about a month. We're already sold out. We have a couple of individual tickets left, but we sold out pretty quick this year.
On your 25 stats,
Yes,
you show number of cases 62,
yes,
number of children 90,
yes.
but then down under there you show total new cases 18.
So those are new cases that came in.
So are a bunch of these kids repeat cases?
Any cases that are continued from the previous year. We do have some cases that are repeat, but those numbers are, we have a total of 62 cases or repeat. I think you can.
Number of children is 26 for this year so far?
That means that those are just new cases that have come into the court this year. It doesn't necessarily mean they aren't repeat kids, but they're new cases that were removed in 2025. So many of our cases are continued from the previous year because they either haven't achieved permanency or they're still within that year of the parents who are trying to regain custody.
So how many do y'all take away from their parents? I see the ads in the report all the time. So evidently there's a whole bunch of kids that their parents are basically too sorry to do anything for them.
Let's see, so it's,
Well,
there's, so right
custody of the state, which means their parents are still working services to try to regain custody.
And none of this is quick.
No.
These
No, but-
processes.
I mean, it's so sad that
I
two
agree.
kids have worked.
See, I would say it's really sad that I have to have this job. I would love there to be a year where I could come here and be like, hey, we're closing our doors. Here's your money back. We don't need it, they don't need us anymore, but that's,
Not reality.
that is not reality, unfortunately.
But we are glad that you are.
And it is. Blessed to have it.
In some cases, a lot of those kids are better off in that foster home than take care of.
Many times that is true, and we'll continue to advocate for those kids to stay, where they are, if that's within their best interest.
Any questions?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Just let somebody do it.
Me too.
I would not do that.
I don't think I could.
Well, you know, if you ever want to volunteer.
No, no. No, I would need that.
We can make it here. I got little children.
Well, I got some.
That's
We're
good.
gonna learn this, I mean,
No, I was gonna address that, I just didn't know if you wanna take a break first. Alright, let's do it. I didn't look at
Man, it's such a good time.
I didn't look at it.
Because your legs are numb, you can't.
Yeah. So, emergency management,
Wait, did you ever go over like the Meals on Wheels, the shop?
no, we haven't
Okay.
covered any of
Okay.
that. Emergency management is in here. There it is. So, emergency management director by statute is myself. What the state of Texas says. So regardless of who the coordinator is, no matter what, I'm still the signature on the page that requires me to be the manager director. What I've decided is that I will be, October 1, I will be naming Chris Jackson as the emergency management coordinator, Sergeant Jackson with the sheriff's office. I feel like that this is going to streamline our emergency management responses, as well as hopefully budgeting. We'll see how that works.
Does it feel like the restrap is pick up again?
No, we think, yeah. So what I would like to see is that the emergency management budget would then go under the sheriff's office as a division of the sheriff's office. So you would have 911 dispatch, you'd have jail, you'd have emergency management. That budget would be worked by Sergeant Jackson and the chief deputy and the sheriff. Well, I'm getting there. And that way, it's a seamless response. We've seen in this last month and a half, some situations that have arose where having the emergency management coordinator plug directly into the sheriff's office has been a major benefit in cutting down time response, as well as sharing assets. So with this move, what I'm proposing is that the current salary head salary will transfer over to the sheriff's office. Sergeant Jackson would be promoted to Lieutenant Jackson, as he would also be taking on the duties of supervising dispatch. Also, I see these things falling together very well because not only are you emergency management coordinator, you deal with the radios, and you're over supervising dispatch. It all seamlessly meshes pretty well. To make that salary correct with the sheriff's office, there will be a small increase to that, the current emergency management salary to cover the lieutenant pay. It's not very much. All of the other line items will, this would mean that Chris Clark would go to the sheriff's office and work for the sheriff under the Department of Emergency Management. He will be our radio administrator. The proposed salary for Chris Clark would be $65,000. Is that correct? I believe that's what we spoke about. He is not a sworn peace officer, and so we didn't think it appropriate to pay him as a sworn peace officer. He does have some pretty handy skills with radios, and he is continuing his education in that realm. But as of right now, that's the proposed salary for him. As we move down through this budget, dues and membership is going to be lowered to 500. Training and mileage will be lowered to 5,000. Bonds and insurance is the same game we played with bonds and insurance for everyone that's walked in here. It's going to go up. Contract services is going to go from 15,000 to 17,500, and that will be for the contract services and emergency.
Contract services, so that covers everything, so we have an active letter count, it covers our, NextLink service level agreement for our microwaves, it covers, Axon Air, it covers, our radar subscription.
And so for instance, with the Axon Air program, what that is the drone. Is that a drone sense? Okay. So what happens is when the drone takes off, it sends an email to myself, the sheriff, chief deputy, whoever we wanted to, that says Jackson's flying a drone. This would be very good, specifically if there might be a fire in one of the precincts. We can pull that up on our phone or a tablet and watch what Jackson is doing from his point of view on it.
It also is directly integrated with the FAA for us to do all of our reporting if we were to fly outside of our Part 107 license, and we did fly under the county's
For you to fly?
No.
How many people can have?
I'll have to check. I know that there's a certain amount they have a buffer of, if you're not using it to fly a drone, you're just using it for viewing, there's a buffer limit of what they'll let you before they'll charge you. But like when we went down to Williamson County, if you did not have this, you could not fly a drone. Because with DroneSense, when we go to another jurisdiction, we can type in a code, and then now we're all linked together. Same thing where if you have multiple drones flying in Hill County, we can all see each other, we can see what each other see, where we're at, what the elevation we're at.
That covers like FAA stuff and everything.
Yes, sir.
So this is, again, I've spoken with Tom Hemrick and told him about this. He's not told me his wishes as of yet as to, the sheriff did offer that there is a part-time position in that department. So the sheriff offered him a part-time position to where he would still work for the county if he wished. He has not told me his wishes either way as of yet on that.
There you go.
This is how we're going to move this department for now. I believe it's the best thing, our course of action for the county.
You know, what did we decide, we pay a little bit of utilities out of the jail for the towers, or we
Yes,
gonna
ma'am.
put the towers in maintenance, or do we wanna run them through the emergency management? It would be good to get them out of the jail.
So that is something we found when I was learning the budget of the jail when I first got there, is there were some bills that I was like, we're paying someone's electric bill over on this random street. Well, come to find out, it's one of our radio towers. So we weren't paying somebody's electric bill, it was ours, or somebody's of the county's. I do think it would be more appropriate to come out of emergency management if we would put a line item in, you know.
Add utilities.
Yeah.
And then repairs for the towers and this repair cover everybody, the tower and the radios and everything.
So that is something that Jackson and I had discussed. The repair line item is fairly vague in this department. There's so much equipment that they have. So is he repairing his vehicle, or is he repairing the generator, or the boat, or the tower? So it might make it a little more clear, transparent, to maybe break that out into a couple different lines of maybe like equipment repair, vehicle repair. I'm not sure what our options are, but feel like it would be a little more transparent, and we would have a good sense of what it's costing us to work on a boat or work on generators. One of those things. Yeah, I just think it'd be a little more transparent.
Okay, let me see what we can come up with. Vehicle, equipment, and duct. And tower.
Yes.
The flip when is that gonna do?
That's my plan right now. It is one of the things that I've been trying to kick around is the idea of a public works department. This department would not be over streets or roads. This would combine 911 addressing, floodplain management, subdivision plats, rules and regulations, actually physically putting up the 911 addressing signs, OSSF, cartograph. Like, we're basically taking multiple departments instead of them all floating out here and kind of being no one really supervising them, all under one roof. Those dreams kind of got shattered today. No, we're gonna have to work real hard to make that happen. I don't know, it's not gonna look like I want it to go year one.
Maybe next year.
Right, but I do think we need to make strides to line all that out. I would like to push the floodplain management supplement to Karen. McClendon, thank you. Karen, Ms. McClendon, she's already doing the majority of those services, so I think that would be appropriate. If it stays there forever and ever, I don't know. But I think, one, I have to have that person, and we have to do it before October 1st. It's not something we need to kick down the road. I need to get her enrolled, she needs to start doing her classes, all that stuff. So I'd like to just put that there, that way it's not a last minute thing. I've been discussing OSSF. I've been discussing OSSF with the sheriff. I would like to see OSSF move to, I'd like to see OSSF put in the Public Works Department and that deputy go back to the sheriff's office. Then he has another deputy to put out on the street, and I can hire a civilian to do the OSSF job, which we can pay less than the deputy. The big deal here is with making a new department, what is it going to look like? Does this mean we're hiring more people? Does this mean we're just restructuring? Then it's a combination of both. Now, we do have an elected official that's expressed interest in running this department. That elected official is our elected county surveyor. Right now, he is unpaid, or he does not have a salary or benefits from the county. I believe that we should be supplying him with benefits, as he is an elected official, but if he were to take this on, he would be requesting a salary that he has not ever requested before. Now, before, his duties for the county were very limited in scope, mostly helping us with subdivision rules and regulations, making sure we're not messing that up, because it's pretty detailed.
For any of the things, I think all of them, but most of the things in that department that you just listed here need engineering.
I believe
So
so.
you're not gonna find one better.
I don't think I could find one very cheaply at all. Not with him. He's not.
Now, if we put this under an elected official, then what that office is gonna be from now on, or when Jesse retires or gets tired, that's gonna be a higher position.
I would think, because it's statutorily, the county surveyor has no requirement to run that. So if you got it, which I don't know, many counties don't even have their county surveyor position filled. And they usually sub it out. If they have some duty that needs to be done, they just sub it out. So if somebody were to run, come in as a county surveyor and said, I'm not doing that distinctly could happen, but we've got that salary posted on that position. So that is a, and you're not required to pay county county surveyor, or even, like a constable, you have to pay a certain amount per whatever. But county surveyor is not required to have.
This position, you can fill it, you just happen to be the county surveyor at the same time.
Correct.
If you need to make it a higher position, it's going to do that.
But as I said, he can't be an elected official and hire. Or the other option is hire a director. Now, I don't think you're gonna get it for what, I can't pay. I can't get an engineer or a surveyor. I can get somebody that maybe works in those realms. But you're not gonna get it.
We have one that a lot cheaper than that, we don't want that again either.
Right.
I got it before I got it.
You're talking about the unit system?
Yes.
Came in after.
Boy, I see about this is one more thing that can get people, well, you know, the sheriff just got this much more money, but budget, you know, so we can blame it on him.
That's not going.
Whatever the question, so, we got a clear shot.
Yeah, since 50% won't catch it, yeah, no, let's go into it.
Certified, qualified, but you come to that one for less than $175,000.
Probably.
Even if you could do it for that.
Well, you still, when you have the plat meetings, you need him or somebody there to go over all these plats that nobody knows anything else about.
Because I know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I sit down and look at the plat, I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, they can get pretty complex. Yeah, and.
All I say is it on the county road.
Right. So having that, even let's just say your option was, no, we're not gonna use our county surveyor, we're gonna go hire a director. But your county surveyor is still gonna have to be involved in those processes, yeah. If you utilize the county surveyor, I still see he's gonna have to reach out to you guys in reference to those plats to ensure. But I see that whole process being streamlined a lot.
Have you floated the idea of him coming in and hiring somebody under him as an apprentice? Because you gotta work for 7, it's harder to be a surveyor in the state of Texas than it is to be a doctor. You got
So-
apprentice for 7
That's a simple answer. I don't envision that position always being a surveyor engineer. I just don't know how we could ever afford it. We're in a unique position right now where we have a surveyor that's offering his services for a reduced price. That's not gonna happen. Now, do I think we might need to stick somebody in there under him to start learning? Will he be a surveyor or she? Will he or she be an engineer? Probably not. But if they're getting on the ground institutional knowledge, then I pay for that.
And if you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I've had people
And apprentice.
Right.
I've had people call me and say, well, my mother wants to give me 1 acre and 2 tenths out of a 50-acre tract. What I need to do? I said, well, you need to have a plan, or call 582-4020.
I know. Thank you. Yes, thank you. 'Cause they call me like I'm a surveyor.
But they don't understand the fact that it has to be platted,
Yeah.
surveyed.
Well, and there are some, even in these subdivision rules and regulations meetings that we've had to review some of these plats, we've identified some issues with even our newest set of subdivision rules and regulations that we've just adopted.
That keep coming up.
And yeah, they do. But like we don't have a family exemption in our rules, in our current rules. But by statute, there is a family exemption, regardless if we put it in our rules or not.
Like this daughter has this 53-acre tract, she wants to give her mother an acre for put a house on. That still has to be platted.
It has to be a minor.
That's what I told her.
Am I correct? Is that the way we understand it today?
It is a minor plat. They have a family
Yeah, you could, yeah. But we're gonna have to look at this. But, cause there's some other things. But,
Pretty good busy.
yeah, we got some.
So on this one, so did we take Jackson out of the sheriff's law enforcement budget to put him over here or
So-
in two places?
Yes.
Not get too shallow.
No,
That's what I'm sure Stephen said.
So right now, he's coming out of the sheriff's office budget as the admin sergeant. He was hired there, he left emergency management.
And this is the one precinct too.
Close. It's gonna go west, but stop at the sheriff's office.
Which is actually precinct 3.
listen, we can work together.
It won't like it all water together.
So, once this budget
Okay,
moves
so
under,
now we're saying, so you have that budgeted for that administrative department.
right now, it's budgeted, right now, October 1, it will turn to Lieutenant Jackson, and this budget will start being utilized by the sheriff's office.
But the sheriff's office is retaining that admin sergeant position.
Correct.
Right, okay.
So, as clear as my, it seems very simple in my head, but I know on the back end, you guys are hating me. On the paperwork side. So any questions on the emergency management? That's what we're addressing right now. No questions?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Miss Susan, is that good?
Are we in a room on
Miss
that?
Parker, are you?
Are we in a room writing, so?
Okay. Yes, sir. Chair.
Did you want to go over the other half of it?
The upgrade, that's mandatory?
Yeah, well, yes. Are you talking about radio line item?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the radio line item, there is a one-time expense that's coming up.
No, sir.
No, oh, no, that was a storm upgrade, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I will say, so the number that's presented right now is padded because of the tariffs and the fact that we won't be able to do this until October 1st and everything that's involved. But so, we need, as of right now, the safety number is $150,000 to start doing our yearly preventative maintenance on our over $2 million radio system. Going forward, once we lock in that it is a 5-year contract with Daily Wells, which we'll present to the court, and they'll give us a definitive number. As of right now, it's only supposed to be 120 the first year, I think, and then 60 something for the 4 years after that. And then the contract will be up for discussion again for the next 5 years. But it's padded at 150 just for that, because we don't know what inflation or anything else is gonna do to that number that they gave us 2 months ago. But that's for them. They actually send a technician out to every single tower site, every server site, where they physically inspect the equipment. They test all the lines, they test the antennas, they do any software upgrades on the servers, because everything in this radio system now is 100% IT related now. I mean, honestly, it's all servers and switches.
So this 220 has got 150 plus the 60.
So it's the 220 it has, so that line item historically was the expense side of our revenue side. So all the municipalities and jurisdictions that are in the county pay to help support the system and upgrades and all that kind of stuff. And it's the goal when that fund was set, if you'll remember, it was approved to be a rollover fund. So every year, whatever funds were left rolled over into the next year. So that way, if we had a failure, or a switch went out, a server went out, or anything like that, then we had money to be able to replace those. Or, I mean, the last time actually, I think when we had to replace the line for the VHF tower system, it was like $8,000. So that way we had money there to be able to replace those high dollar things without having to come back and ask for unbudgeted funds.
So you're talking about the revenues coming in from all these other licenses.
As of right now, it's projected.
Going into the sinking fund for that purpose.
Come again?
So,
So yeah, so like right now, we're expecting the revenue $70,000
Okay.
for that. So that is there, that's already, that's what we've been, last year was 75, this year we lost, a couple of record companies and something else, so it went down to 70. But we're asking for 150 additional on top of that, because again, we have to do the maintenance, the preventative maintenance, but we still need money there in case something fails. A lightning strike, an act of God, wind blows a dish out of alignment, anything like that. So we still have to have those funds there to make emergency repairs on top of.
So where do the funds go presently?
They're in general fund, the revenues are going to general fund, we don't have them set up as a rollover fund.
Okay.
That's the first I've ever heard of
That's the
that.
question.
Well, I'm betting that was
Anyway,
a
but
verbal agreement.
right, that's fine. I mean, we spent more than we took in, so I would say we had no rollover the first year.
We didn't spend any more. We had budget, there was a budget amendment where they added the money for the jail BDA, but we didn't expend any more money revenue that we were putting in.
Out of the one line, is that what
Correct.
you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
You're going by the one line? Okay.
So do we need to go up on our monthly fee then?
I'm sorry?
Do we need to go up on our monthly fee?
Highly,
Charge $50?
highly against that.
Huh?
Highly against going up on the fee. Right now, for the size system and county we are, it is a very reasonable and cost-effective fee. You go into bigger systems like McLennan County, Waco McLennan County, or North Texas, they charge a little bit higher. I think Waco charges, $10 more. McLennan County, I think, charges $20 more than we do. Ours right now is $15 a radio per month, paid yearly. So I wouldn't recommend going up
So
higher.
you'll probably lose the contract.
I'm sorry?
You probably lose the contract.
Well, not only that, I mean, you gotta look at it too, the county is the primary user of the radio system. We have other jurisdictions, like the ESD is the second, or actually, sorry, the city of Hillsborough actually, I think, is the largest. Then it comes down to Hill County, and then the ESDs, and then the three other municipalities underneath that. So I mean, the county is the largest user of it. So that's why I'm saying I wouldn't go up on the fee because we're the biggest user.
So if we tie into all the other counties around us, like y'all been talking about, will that create more cost or more revenue, or is that just a dead fee?
Neither. It just creates more interoperability.
So, but basically that 220 number, that 150 is in there.
Yes.
Plus,
Plus 150 million, or 1.5 million spent to get this thing kicked off.
So that's where I'll clarify that 80%, don't quote me on that number, but a vast majority of this system has not been through the county coffers. It has all been through grants, either via ARPA or Homeland Security. The county, the biggest expense the county has paid out of their dollars was the bidirectional amplifier for the jail. Everything else, in the grand scheme of the nearly $2 million system that this is, has all been through grant funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the tower in Penelope, that's all the grant funds that are putting up right now.
do we have any questions about that?
I like the strategy and the structure.
There is a couple of things that I did want to talk about as we were talking about emergency management and public works deal. First time we've ever been able to sit down at the table and talk about all together at once was the public works system, or the public works department, whatever it's called, I don't care what it's called. ESD has approached us about helping some funding in that department. ESD2. They know that we put out the 911 signs. Those are crucial for them to be able to get ambulances where they're supposed to go when they're supposed to get there. So they are looking at maybe putting some funding off to us for that, which could help offset some of the cost of that public works department. Another thing that I'd like to talk to ESD about is the amount of ambulance calls that we're fielding for them, and talk about maybe monetizing that in some way as well to help offset maybe either some radio, emergency emergency management or dispatch costs, wherever we can stick that, it's most appropriate, that would help the county. So, look out for those costs in the future. What's next?
When we talk about that, what advice would that be, on the league?
Yeah, I'd like to have them come, because I'd like to see what their thoughts are on what they're thinking. Yeah, I'd like to see, they came and met with me, and they're really looking to be a good partner with the county ESD too. ESD1 as well, both of them are really trying to be good partners with the county. They offer two different things, one over the other, but.
And Duncan had mentioned that.
Yeah, Mr. Duncan and, some of us came in and sat with me and we talked for a good time about it. They're really trying to be involved in the community, help out the community as much as they can within their realm of service. All right.
When I found him that they did, I didn't know how he was going to be.
That was a good pick.
Never give it up.
Yes, sir.
Something on Mr. Duncan, that y'all probably didn't know. The crew that we sent to Williamson County, to Liberty Hill, he spoke with all of them and advised them to keep all their receipts and that ESD would refund them for every expense that they spent. So, sorry? Great, sorry, not Mr. Duncan, Greg. But he was that was very great for him to do that. I mean, volunteer firemen going, several hours, and to give that money back to them to use in our community I thought it was a great move.
So, Mr. Cantrell?
Yes, sir.
Leading you off.
Ready to finish this thing off?
What?
Can I get up?
Oh, sorry. People are still watching.
Good afternoon. My proposal is much simpler than all the stuff we've been covering this afternoon. So, really, it's just two line items that I'm proposing increases to: software maintenance and contract services. And at the handout that I just handed everyone, at the top, you can see what was budgeted for FY 24-25. The proposed increases, now some of these, I'll just go line by line. The first four increases are actually things that we've already committed to.
Hold on. Oh, it's on the computer. Found it. Go ahead. Sorry.
So,
It's up towards the front. It says computer.
So the proposed increases to my software maintenance line, we've got, so we recently upgraded our license tier with the Cartograph software, which all the commissioners use. So we upgraded from whatever the other tier level was, now we're at the enterprise level. Basically, that gives us unlimited users, and it also allows us to have there's a certain type of asset, a custom asset builder for the flood.
It was soil conservation.
Yes. So we have an annual contract with Cartograph, and this is an increase to that contract. So it's an additional $7,500 a year to take us to the enterprise level license tier, and we've already agreed to that. So this is I'm just reflecting that increase. Same thing on that.
include training?
No, sir.
Enterprise
No, sir. No, it's unlimited users. We had 10 users before, but really, the main reason why we did it is for that custom asset, for the soil conservation. Yes, sir. That was the second line item, the Odyssey Navigator. Every year, Tyler, we all love Tyler. They go up on us every single year. This is the amount that they're going to be going up. I receive a letter every year that tells us, this year it's going to be this much more. So that's what that number is. Okay, the next one is a big one, and you gentlemen may remember, we upgraded our CrowdStrike license tier. We are now under what they call Falcon Complete, which is just active monitoring, where the folks at CrowdStrike, if we have any kind of a security incident, IT cyber incident, they can see it and take remediation steps to fix it. So it's a cheap price to pay to have some real good, strong technical minds at our, kind of in our back pocket, so to speak. So but that gets us to, that gives us the extra support from CrowdStrike, and we purchased some additional licensing on that as well. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Same thing, so in the next line, the Solutions 2 increase, that's another one that we've already, Judge, we recently just signed the contract, you signed a contract with Motorola for us to upgrade the Spillman server for the sheriff's office. And so as a part of that new solution, that new server infrastructure that we're going to be getting from Motorola, there's an increase to this Solutions 2. Solutions 2 is remote support. They do backups, they make sure that all of our software is patched up, and that's just the increase to the cost of those folks, for that. At the very bottom, I'm going to jump all the way down to the very bottom. That's the number that, I think you mentioned something just a few minutes ago, Judge, about,
Yes.
That's the number that we've got to come up with from contingency, I believe.
Yes.
So
this is the Spillman upgrade. We talked about this in court, 1 or 2 courts ago, where I planned to pay for this as a one-time expense. And then the expense that is going to carry on is that Solutions 2.
Correct.
And, but obviously that's very small compared to the actual project. So the project itself is quite substantial.
So under my software maintenance line, the first 4 lines are actually contracts and agreements that we've already signed off on. The next 3 are my asks. So there's a piece of software called Ninja One that is going to allow us to remotely install software, remotely manage Windows updates on all the workstations throughout the county, where we wouldn't have to physically go to all of these systems. It can provide some advanced reporting that we can use for CJIS compliance. And for under $5,000 a year, it's a really good deal for all that software does. It's really slick stuff. And I would like to ask the court to please consider Ninja One for that Bill County activity. Next one is Malwarebytes. So we actually run kind of a 2-headed approach to cybersecurity here. We run CrowdStrike, which I've talked about. We also run Malwarebytes. I like to have 2 different pieces of software protecting us. We already run both of these pieces of software. Malwarebytes, the county's growing. We're at capacity. We're actually over our limit a little bit. We're currently at 250. So that $750 just increases our license count from 250 computers to 300. Then the last one is FileValve, and Ms. Parker had brought some of them to my attention a while ago. FileValve is also, I don't know if any of you all remember a software called OnBase. It's a document management system that we use in-house. It's very expensive, and they didn't want to work with us, so we moved away from it. So we moved to another piece of software called FileValve. FileValve is it's a cloud. So FileValve is better in the sense that it's cloud-based. The OnBase system was on-prem, so we had to manage our own backups and so forth. FileValve, we are currently licensed for 100,000 documents. That's how many. The way that they do their licensing, it's not by users, it's by number of documents. We're currently licensed for 100,000 documents. And really what we did is we exported all of the Treasurer's Office documents, and that includes HR and payables and everything else, out of OnBase, and then imported it into FileValve. That put us at about 78,000 documents. So, and the way that their licensing works, we're at the bottom tier of 100,000 documents. It jumps up from there to 250,000 documents. That's the next tier up. So it's a little over $2,200 a year to go from 100,000 documents to 250,000 documents.
How much is the next tier?
$1 million. Dollars?
$1 million?
$1 million documents.
That's a big jump.
No, $1 million documents. I don't know the price. I probably have maybe an email
So that don't have anything between 250 and a million, it's just,
As far as number of documents, no, that's the next jump. But with the, currently we have about 78,000 documents out of our 100,000 that we're licensed for. That's all treasurer's office files. The district clerk would like to, because I think she may have mentioned a really cumbersome method to go through a series of spreadsheets to try to find the thing that you're looking for. Well, it works, but it is super cumbersome. But we can upgrade to the 250,000 license tier for a little over $2,200 a year and accommodate, have enough room now to import in all the district clerk documents. That's going to put us, I want to say hers were around 40,000 documents, and that's going to put us at around 115, 120. So we'll have plenty of room to grow within FileBound, even up to the 250,000 document limit. To Ms. Parker's point, she was asking if, Susan, if you're looking for a system that you can upload files to in the cloud, we may have a solution for you.
So that's what I said in my presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear you.
so that help you go.
We could potentially use it for camera.
And Philip,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not actively adding to that system. I use Content Manager, which is a Tyler product now for my records retention.
Yes.
And so eventually some of those 70,000 documents will age out according to the law library retention schedule. The HR, not so much, but the accounts payables, yes. So eventually some of my documents can come out of that. Correct. And since I'm not actively adding to it anymore, I'll have a very minimal amount in there just from a payroll HR perspective. And that's a 75-year limit from the law library.
Any questions on any of those?
If I could just add to that, since we have this thing where we have to keep the documents all these years before we ever get rid of any documents, since we pay road construction materials with these documents that are now in file bound, we need to be cognizant of that when we get ready to think we can get rid of some things.
Yes.
There's still record retention, maybe not for accounts payable documents, but for grant purposes, there might be some conflicts there.
And it would be a dual control thing. I would obviously, visit with the auditor. About
Yeah,
that.
I'm not going to delete anything without talking to people first.
Sounds like to me, you already ate up your 250. You need to go find out what the next tier is.
Nah, we're a long way from that.
I say go to the million, I'll get in on this. That sounds great.
So,
You might be able to split the cost of it.
So I've got it highlighted there. You can see the increase to my software maintenance line. That's the increased total. So then just below that is the number for the total number for my software maintenance line that I'm requesting for this next year's budget. Anyone have any questions on this? Moving down to contract services, this was really easy. That's what we're budgeted there. The only thing I'm asking for, and really this is just a one-time expense, so I don't know how you might want to handle this. We can run it through my contract services, and maybe, unless you, Judge, or Susan, maybe you guys have a different idea. Really, it's a proposal from our camera vendor, Christian Cable Group, also known as Science. But, so, this is for them to replace all of the outside cameras at the sheriff's office. That's the majority of the expense. The external cameras, they're old, they're very dingy and cloudy, and they're, well, you can't see very well. They don't zoom in, they don't have the range, and they don't have the zoom capabilities that the new ones have. I really don't know how old those existing cameras are, but Sheriff and Chief were asking about, getting those replaced. So I have a proposal in my hand that would replace all of those cameras around the sheriff's office. It's also going to add 2 cameras that Nicole, I believe, did you and Marshall, I know over at the EOC, if you're going into the back records retention area, there's a camera on each side of the door. When you first walk in, there's a camera on the wall that faces back. But as you walk back, there are no cameras. And I think they both wanted to have one, because one side's kind of county clerk side, one's, So we were going to add one camera on each side back at the EOC. So this proposal replaces all the cameras around the sheriff's office, adds 2 cameras at the EOC, and also, we have 3 different camera systems. I hate that, I don't like that, I wanna get down to, one, uniform, system. We have Digital Watchdog, which we have at the sheriff's office, we have at AgriLife, and we have at Covington. We like Digital Watchdog. We also have, another piece of software called Salient. Salient's good camera software, we have that here at the courthouse, and we have it over at the EOC. This proposal also includes upgrading and replacing the 2 Salient servers and moving them over to Digital Watchdog. So they would put us more on a common platform. Those are the only 2 places where we have Salient, is here at the EOC. The other camera system that we have is the Bosch camera system, which the Bosch cameras are good, they're a little clunky, but as it stands right now, we spent so much money on those that, I can't justify replacing them anytime soon. We need to use them and get some life out of them. But eventually, I want to replace those Bosch cameras and move everything to Digital Watchdog. That's the long term, 3 to 5 years. So this proposal would replace the 2 camera servers here at the courthouse and the EOC, move them from Salient to Digital Watchdog, replace all the outside cameras at the sheriff's office, and add 2 cameras in the records retention area of the EOC. And that's what, and then that number, you see the increased total number there at 41. So really, that's just a one-time expense. So I don't know if it's correct to run it through my contract services line, or if there's a better way to handle that expense, or.
We probably have to split it between capital outlay and contract service when we get the proposal, but, just have the total in there and then we can work on it.
I have a proposal.
So in your contract services, you're asking for 76 total,
Correct.
and then that includes this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It includes my normal budget amount plus the proposal.
Awesome. And then the Motorola Stillman upgrade, that one is in the sheet at all, correct?
That is not in the sheet at all, because, I believe we discussed you were gonna pay that for contingency.
So, but I gotta put some.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Would capital outlay be the appropriate place for that?
Sure. Do we want that in IT or, I guess,
I'm good with that.
and that's for the new year, or we ordered that, I'm kind of trying to think what we did on
We've
that.
ordered it, but it won't be.
Oh, we don't have to do anything till next,
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, we need to probably put that in capital.
We just got a budget for it.
Agreement's already been signed, they might need to assess until after October 1st.
Any questions?
That's all I got.
What camera system do we have at Covington Annex?
Digital Watchdog.
And Phil, there was that $30,000 that we're giving back to the general fund.
Yes, there's also, so if we, and that would have been in my software maintenance line as well, so, yeah, it did not, thank you, that's why I did not account for that, so we could actually reduce that bottom line number, that 549, 530.
In software meetings?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for identifying that.
It's been sitting there honestly for several
It
years.
has, and nobody's really,
It had too many discrepancies in the software, and it had a lot of major, data breaches when you started digging into it, and it just wasn't a good software for our county.
like. Alright, any other questions, Phil? Phil, we surely appreciate you. Thank you very much. Alright. Mr. Mason. Perfect timing.
How are y'all?
Very well, how are you, sir?
You were telling me today, so we're in good shape.
I'm the last one. Everybody else is in here? Yeah, but your last is all spent, that's right. Well, it's a good thing I'm not asking for anything above what statute requires, okay? So, but I will say this. Just so the commissioners know that
He's not in this. Sorry, go ahead.
just so you guys are aware of what we do for the county here in Hill County, that no other probation department does this entire state. We do a number of things. We collect money. Now, there are a few probation departments in the state that may collect restitution. but we don't collect court cost fines and things of that nature. I can tell you right now, we're on course to probably collect somewhere between $225,000 and $250,000 just in our court costs and fines. This year, we've already collected over $100,000 in victim restitution. But not very many probation departments collect county money. That's number one. Number two, no probation department other than Hill County actually types original court orders for the district court and for the county court of law. It just doesn't happen. Number one, we're not attorneys, but we've developed a level of trust with the courts and with the prosecutors to where we've been doing that for some time now. There's a cost to that. I don't have to tell you all that, but there's a cost, obviously. And another thing that we do is we type amended orders. That it saves time to court to actually have to hear a case. So we'll type an amended order. We'll take it over to the prosecutor, get their signatures, take it up to the courts, get their signatures, and we're out the door. Probation continues with some modification. That's it. So that's not really that uncommon with probation departments. However, it could go a different way, and it's called an order to modify, which would require a court hearing and really some type of determination on that. So from the judge, and that really saves. Just having been able to do, for example, if we're in court and Mark says, "Hey, I'd like to do an order to amend. We'll pull this case back, or these allegations back, do an order to amend, we'll bring it in that way, so that we'll draw the case in order to keep it from going forward without requiring additional steps on their end." So there's some cost savings there. Listen, I'm not wanting to come in here today and say we need to come up with a plan to reimburse or pay the probation department extra money. But I will tell you this, and the county judge can actually call and contact his peers and find out many, and I say a good deal, of counties actually help financially their probation department. I've taken no stance, going about the fox into the hen house. So, other than what's in statute, I've never come in here and asked for a penny other than maybe some paint or maybe I'll put a door up. But the reality is, the way the state is going, we didn't get any increase. Everything we got this year was pretty much budgeted. We did get a little bit in the basic supervision funding. So to explain our budgets, we've really got multiple budgets inside our basic funding line. We did get a little bit of a bump in that, cost of living, not for salaries, not entirely for salaries, but we did get a little bit in that we got $700 in our community corrections budget, so we now get somewhere around $80,000 a year for that. We did have veterinary programming grants that help us run our substance abuse program and our sex offender program. And out of that, I'm having to ship $100,000 roughly every year just to cover those two grants to help with counseling. Now, what I'm going to have to do this year, which we did some years ago, many years ago, probably 15 or 20 years ago, even longer than that, we had the defendants reimburse us for counseling expenses. We're going to have to go back to that. It just got to that point. The state did allocate, let me just say this, they gave parole officers 15% increase. They got corrections officers 10% increase in CDCJ. They sent probation officers, I'm gonna say around 3.5%. They didn't give anything for the support staff, nothing whatsoever. Just minimizing the value of support staff that we have. Without them, we would not function, but they did not do that. I had a long discussion with the TDCJ director down there in Austin, and really expressed my concerns and everything as it relates to them just kind of turning their nose to a support staff. The reality is, it's hard to hire a probation officer. I'm not going to deny that. We finally got a young man. I thought about bringing him today, but just so he could see what this was all about. And we're fortunate to have him, because before I hired him, we just had two guys over there. And that was me and Keith. Y'all know Keith.
that's a lot of work for 2 men as far as drug tests go. But we drug test a lot. So Robert, is helping ease that, but Robert is a young guy, he's from California, he's in the Army, moved to Texas to get away from California, him and his wife. He has a master's degree from a school out there. That makes 4 of us at the department that have at least a master's degree. We'll soon have a 5th out of 12 people. When I started in Hill County, October will be 20 years ago, we had 27 employees at the probation department. We're down to 12. And that was by design because we were overstaffed. And I really cut that back a lot. I'm thinking that at some point in the future, the way if we progress, then we may be able to get down to 11. It doesn't give us a lot in case someone is sick, but at the same time, I think we'll be able to manage, but we're not there yet. We're working on it. Our software program, which I was talking about a while ago, every year they get better, and it provides us with a little more flexibility to do something. So we're fortunate to have CSSI helping us do this. They're our software provider. But anyhow, we've got good people. I've never had a crew over there. We've had big groups, but I've never had a group that's as sound as this one. As far as, and they're young. We got some young folks, but they're dedicated, and I'm proud of them. No drama in my department. I just don't like drama. You know, we all have a job to do. You know, leave whatever talk is over at the courthouse. We don't get in the middle of it. And so there's no drama in my department. Used to be. Anymore. So that's the way we like it over there. We're here to serve the courts. Obviously, the people are the citizens of Hill County as well, but our job is to serve the judges, and that's what I think. You're taking a responsibility away from the judges. Starting September 1, they will no longer be over CSE budgets. I always have to go, and if you're in the hearing next month, you'll see how that goes. If you want to see how that's what we do every year, or every biennium, every year really, but especially the biennium, but this is our big budget. But starting next year, the state is taking that away from the judges. So the only responsibility the judges will have for the probation department is to hire and fire me. That's it. And hire and fire the director. They're systematically pulling all the responsibilities, at least as I've been in probation, away from the director and sending it straight back to Austin. So it will not be long before we're a state agency full-fledged. And there was a reason why they wanted us to be independent governmental agencies. So we couldn't be controlled by one way or the other. But that's being taken away from the judges. As y'all may know, our insurance comes from ERS, from the state, but we are happy to be with TCDRS as far as retirement goes. It's just better. And we don't want to change that. I hope it doesn't change. But anyways, in a nutshell, that's it. I do want to have discussions with the Commissioner's Court at some point regarding what I mentioned today as far as potentially in the future looking at ways to help reimburse or fund the department in some way, shape, or form. But I don't want to throw that on Commissioner's Court without discussion beforehand. That's just not me. So we'll have discussion, see what we can do. And I'm not expecting the Commissioner's Court or the county to just have an open checkbook for the department. But as time gets tough, the department, we're looking at different revenue streams in order to help us stay afloat. So we provide a great service to this county as well. So just something to think about. And it's y'all's pleasure, and I'll be more than happy to sit down with y'all and have a meeting. So.
What bucket does the 225 go to?
Do it now.
What bucket does the 225 go to?
What booklet does it?
Bucket. As that money comes in, y'all collect.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you're talking about for the fine court cost? Yeah.
Yeah, so where does it go?
Well, we send it to the county treasurer, and what she does with it, you'll have to ask her.
It gets split a few different ways. We post it 3 different ways on our books, and the first one, Susan, help me out here, goes to ACO, goes to CSC.
Well, the district clerk gets a certain amount of money that then they just post their money through the Odyssey system. And then, of course, the funds go to his own budget, the basic supervision, and
It's 3 different.
funds his people.
Yeah, we take our money, of course, city money, probation fees. Some fines go to us by statute, by law, all of our drug testing fees or crash fees, everything like that. Of course, we separate that, and then we have a group that goes directly to the county, attorney's fees, fines, court costs, and restitution is like another lump sum. So we all keep them separated.
Well, another thing that probation does is they monitor bond conditions and GPS conditions. So if someone were to come to jail for assault county violence per se, Judge Tom puts a bond condition on them and GPS interlock. Every county does that differently. There's no one statutorily required to monitor this. It doesn't make much sense to put them on, monitor. I've met JPs that have to do it by themselves. So they're personally getting their cell phone called about a guy that's breaking his GPS monitoring device. An agreement was made a while back, it's been years now, where so for instance, DWI, a guy gets DWI second, third, or a child, or whatever. The magistrate, Judge Tom, orders an ignition interlock, he's got to blow into it to get his car to start. Those are all monitored through APO. They've graciously taken that on because in reality, their duties are post, right? Not pre.
Yeah, I didn't think you mentioned bonds.
Yeah. So they're taking on this work before that person's even in the system at all. And their case isn't even filed. The judge doesn't even know the case exists, and probation is taking on those duties. And they do not have to.
And I take care of that, just because I don't want to have other people worried about doing that as well. So and I'm up a lot at night. I've been dealing with Hector, been dealing with a young man, and his, it was no fault of his. His GPS monitor was not working. It was buzzing throughout the night. I'm trying to help him get it fixed. I couldn't get a hold of the RMS where, when I do, they're wanting to come in. I'm like, well, that's not going to fix the situation now. So, I mean, there's a lot of nights that I'm up trying to work, and I don't want this to sound like I'm up every night. That's not what it is. But there are some nights, and I spend a lot of time on bond cases, people that aren't even on probation. So it's just a conversation I'd like for us to have, and so we can, but I just wanted to let you know what we do for the county and listen, I'm not asking for money right now. I'm just wanting to have that discussion that maybe we can figure it out in the future.
Mr. Ransom, did you ever figure out your security situation over there? Do you have an alarm or anything at your building?
I've hit on that for many years now. We have no alarm over there, so if someone kicks the door down, nobody's coming. So
I think that's something we probably need to look at for this kind of budget
we
year.
used to probably 15, I don't know, maybe 18 years ago. I can't remember that. The reason I was 20 years ago was I was trying to get in the building when I was brand new, and I had the code wrong, and the sheriff's department was there to do that.
Right.
So.
Well, and I know that we've got usually a bailiff next door, but there's not really a mechanism besides somebody's cell phone. That should be fair.
Yeah, in the middle of the night, I mean, there's no, someone kicks the door in, there's nobody coming, nobody can know. Yeah, I've been that for many years, y'all. I just assumed that was in the process, but I've been told that, maybe probation is getting a new building soon, I don't know. I know there's been some talk of it, or at least that's what I know. So.
It's gonna get ground.
Don't know. Soon is
Yeah, right where
I don't know what soon is. I would love to see it soon, but I just don't know.
Sure, I get it. No, I totally get it. I probably won't be here by the time it happens. I don't worry about it then.
We gave up on the fourth floor renovation a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was gonna be our solution.
Yeah, I did being in this building would be the best, because we do a lot of our work. But being in the sheriff's department next door would be great too. We're over there. Any questions?
Thank you very much, sir.
You bet.
Does anybody have There's the maintenance budget, courthouse maintenance. What's that? I put it under special, I'm sorry. They're under special budgets. Basically, I proposed very little change in this. I would like to talk about, anybody have any questions on it or observations or input just right off the bat? So I do have a question for, I guess it was Susan. It shows the current budget year on the Subbuck Museum is $20,000 and we haven't spent any. Is that a yearly expense we send to them and we just haven't sent it yet? Traditionally?
Okay, first we pay the insurance on the property and then we have been sending them the balance. So we usually send it in July or August. And of course, this came out, we paid just like the insurance.
So I'm gonna adjust that back to the 20,000 that it was.
Yes.
And then basically I didn't change any of these numbers. Oh, yes I did. The Huron Annex, 14017430. I didn't know where to stick that money, but that difference reflects the roof repair.
The roof repair.
And I don't know if that's the proper place to put it,
I think that's fine.
but that's where I put it, and that will help with the roof repair on that building, in addition to what it was last year. Every other line item kept the same, except supplies. I lowered $500 because we know on the first page we haven't been spending it traditionally, not even close. So that's what I got for. That's what I'm proposing for. Anything else?
I don't know what are we gonna do about the repairing these buildings from the hail?
I don't know. So I'm guessing they're gonna give us.
They want to meet with us, I think, in the next week or so, but, you know, I guess they'll give us the money and we'll have to go out for bid and get some contractors, you know, to do these repairs for us.
Correct. And I'd like to go out for bid, like I said, the roof guy, if we've already got him on the line, he's already done work for us, if that's the easy button, and he's not the most expensive in the entire world, then I'd like to do that. The windows are gonna be a whole separate issue, and I believe it's the same guy that's been looking at all of our windows, because all of them need to be re-sealed. When the wind blows and it rains at the same time, water comes in because there's no seals on the windows anymore. It is a historic building. Of course, there's a couple options to completely replace them through a historic company. But I'm gonna say we're not probably gonna entertain it. So I would like to repair them as best we can, but I don't feel like we can do the full product. Let's see. Anything else?
When will we do the next meeting?
Oh, hold on, Ms. Parker?
Yes, I have a couple things about, economic development and public assistance that I don't think we've hit on.
Okay, hold on, let me find it.
Well, right behind that one is your public assistance.
There it's special.
Yeah, see, training and public welfare.
So, public assistance, that's gonna be 5301. autopsy and transports, those are up. That's gonna be where the JPs are sending for autopsy. I did, propose a budget of $185,000 this coming. We're sitting at we're projected to hit 173. The problem with it is, it's just a difficult number to project. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know how many people are gonna die, and we don't know if the JP that shows up is gonna be able to tell what they died from. And that they aren't doctors. So, and I don't ever want a JP to not send someone because he's worried about them. That would be scary.
I can think of it.
So, as we go down, I've kept them mostly the same. And then I'm gonna propose that the CASA go to 35,000. The next one is Health and Human Services, Tourism. It's completely blank budget. That one. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, no, it's not. The next page is payment to other agencies.
Okay, this is what we pay the city of Hillsborough for our tax increment funding, and we get that number from Dale Snyder, so I'll have to get that number from him.
Okay. So right now, I put the same number that was there last year. We'll get an updated number.
And then backing up on that mental illness, that's where we pay for those mental health commitments to Bell County and
Yes.
stuff, so we can probably put some money back there.
I'm proposing the same amount, the 6,500.
Okay, mine didn't have.
I left it blank, yeah,
Okay,
but I would propose the same amount.
sure.
Because we're projected at 4,000, but again, it's another one that, how are you gonna guess? Strictly a guess. After that, we had the probate education. I put 1,000 in there before I knew what it was. So Judge Lewis didn't have to use that, as he stated before, because he was on staff with the education. He never really had to use much of that. I'm gonna change that to proposing to keep the 2,500 for that, because I almost positive they don't want me to teach them. At least not anytime soon.
The school and office is,
Yeah, the school, and you know what, you get to tap this fund as well. One clerk she can use just to this fund as well, so,
I haven't really had to very often.
Right.
Use some this year.
right. You can see it's not been used very often, but there's a reason it's there, because, you know, not everyone's on staff there. The next one is language line. I guess I'm gonna change that, as we just had that discussion. It just hasn't ever been used. We're budgeting $500 for it. We've never used any of it.
I told Justin I look forward, and it's part of those, when they revamped the court fees in 2022. Y'all started collecting the language access and the dispute resolution funds. But I told Justin I would look up the statute to see if they needed it to pay for interpreters or not.
Okay.
Not for sure what that's for.
I'll leave 500 as a placeholder then on that.
It's funded by what fees have been collected, it's
Right.
not what they can.
And then this 251 Economic Development Fund. I wrote all over this before I realized this is not the economic development that I thought. So the staff wages on this, was this what we were paying Ms. Hemrick? This 25,000?
No.
It's just staff wages?
Nothing's been paid out of this,
I mean,
except the retail coach, it was budgeted. You know, Justin was gonna try to get, I think, Art Man to come and do some work for us on economic development. So no salary's ever been paid out of it, I guess, when he did the figures for last year, he thought we would, but we haven't. The only thing that's actually been paid out of it is the retail coach thing, whatever we're doing with the city of Hillsborough.
And that was just recent, that was funds can only be used on those things.
Yes. In the comptroller's letter that they submit. I think it can help the average.
I was about to say, I thought I had something in there, the advocacy center could use these funds.
So maybe, that's how we help them out of there, and we can help them instead of, have ours. We can contract, may support a children's advocacy center that provides services to abused children. They may develop and administer a program authorized by section D for entering into a tax abatement agreement. So, if we, I got to read what those.
So if we could use these, if we could use these funds for CASA, I'd really like to.
Well, support a children's advocacy center is CASA, and with the manager.
We use those funds.
Would be much, because they're not being used now, except for retail donation.
So we probably would need David's blessing to say we could spend our $35,000 out of this fund, or maybe add, or maybe more.
Yeah.
And probably needs his blessing.
Okay, we'll have to talk with him, and then court preservation hasn't been used, there was 1,500 budgeted, I proposed 0 for contract services for court preservation.
Those are Nicole's or Marshall's funds, I think this is
0.
county clerk court preservation,
So I could use some of that money.
for like your minutes or your,
I could use some of those funds to preserve my books, but you see what's in there.
You can't preserve
I
the
told
books
you
with
how
that.
much it costs to read my books. We're gonna have to have a lot of.
I'll be getting together the estimated beginning balances and all of these things, so some of those, the money you might be able to increase your expenditures, or you might have to decrease it, maybe you can only spend 500. I'm not there yet.
Trying to hear what's on the bill.
So just keep this in mind, I'll do a breakdown to,
You take it?
for this. I have to report the constable sheriff's fees and,
I don't think that's one of the
I know, but I'm just saying, it's budget.
Anything
I
else?
don't wanna go up on this.
Maybe we should set some more court dates.
So we have a court date, next Monday.
Monday, y'all think Monday is needed, or do you want to do it on Tuesday with regular session?
We have-
It's supposed to be detached.
We have court date next Monday and next Tuesday.
What was Monday for?
It was originally for this hearing.
It was originally, yeah, so originally when the calendar was adopted last year, the court dates were picked, and then the legislature moved dates around and we had to move this up. So we actually do have a court date scheduled for Monday, if we continue to have one, to discuss this in more. You guys, Tuesday is regular commission. Yeah.
And then we have court
No.
August the 4th.
Tuesday was also supposed
Also
to be
scheduled.
the old schedule.
So do you think we just need one day or both days?
How about is Tuesday okay?
Can we sneak some contract approvals in there?
What says here,
You say
I
no?
got a doctor.
says here certified.
Doctor in Wakefield.
On Tuesday? Okay, how about, hold on, the 28th?
That'd be good.
Monday the 28th at 8:30? Won't be here. No, you're gonna, that's one reason why we changed it, right? You've been married like 100 years. Yeah.
There was one good year, I just can't remember.
So how long do I need to allocate on here for
On,
Monday meeting?
uh,
We should be up before 4, should we?
good gosh, so yeah.
Well,
Well,
going over, I
says here, certified property values Friday,
We should
Right.
have,
That's Mike today when he was getting those out.
the 25th.
will he be ready to present a detailed, because you can add it to the agenda.
Yes. I think you guys are on talking about that one. So we need to add Mr. McKinnon to what day are we meeting?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Okay. We'll be short one commissioner. Oh, he can't be here Tuesday either. So Monday? Monday morning.
Call
Good.
home.
You run the court.
Yeah, Monday morning, the 28th at 8:30.
Send me a check.
We'll handle it, just leave that in the front.
Be with me.
We're really gonna turn that on.
Yeah, right. Okay, anything else?
Looking ahead, we're gonna do the 4th.
We're gonna do, correct, we're gonna do Monday the 28th, and we'll do Monday the 4th.
One at a time, one at a time.
Yep. Total tax rate,
And that's when we,
salaries, elected officials,
We have to propose a tax rate.
Medicare, and budget, and total tax rate.
not of August.
what's the proposed budget?
August 4th, the proposed tax rate for road elected officials have to be, so we're filing on that day, that's why we're having that meeting.
But the 5th is your last day to file a
On the
proposed
5th, the judge intends to file.
That's what it says. Did I intend to file it, or I have to file it?
Intends
Intends to.
to file.
You get a TMD.
Yeah, maybe it's the calendar in here.
Turn your schedule over, Miss Miller.
Oh, okay.
I think it was we have to have a proposed budget by that day, and then our final is due by the 26th.
The last day for me to file the proposed budget is August 15th.
Yeah.
So I can intend to file one on the 5th, but it has to be filed on the 5th.
By the 15th.
That was just, it's a placeholder.
Seemed like that's what it was last year, it was on the 15th.
And then,
That's like one of those little sticky notes you put on your refrigerator.
right, adopt the budget on the 26th, and then of course adopt the ML item. All right, Commissioner.
Make a motion, y'all staying longer? Motion adjourned.
Second, vote.
Stand adjourned.
Recording stopped.
Well,